And what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Xbox Ultimate Podcast episode number 206. I hope everyone is having an awesome day. But I just noticed the fucking description for the title. This is weird. Okay, hold on. It's episode 207. My bad. This is like weird because it reposted the same description as last week. But that's not what the show's about. If you see the headline on the title, it's actually something else. So I'm fixing that as we speak. But anyway, sorry for that. But hope everyone is having a good one. I hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving break. And hey, Christmas time is here. Christmas time is near. It's the time for all my favorite time of year. This next month coming up, right? Going from Thanksgiving into Christmas, the holiday season time. I know everybody is looking at those Black Friday deals right now, seeing what they want to get. You know, you got some gaming goodies out there, except for Pong Bah Humbug.
There ain't shit this year.
Man, did you see the deal for the Western Digital card? It's $100 instead of $150.
Great.
Rock.
Memory card. Woo! Let's go.
Yes.
Merry fucking Christmas, everybody. You got a fucking memory card.
Suicide Squad is $3.49.
Yeah, well, you and I and Steel will all agree to that. That's a hell of a fucking deal. But again, nobody else does. Everybody is shitting on that game again. Even at $3.99, they're saying it's still too expensive. I'm like, you guys are fucking nuts. Fucking.
Yeah, I saw somebody post that say it's still too much. I'm like, what? That game is good. Like if you,
it's worth the playthrough.
Yeah,
for that amount, it's a great fucking game.
Amazing production quality, great story, fun game to play. It's multiplayer with co-op and stuff. And it's just a lot of great things about it. It's not a Batman game, right? But it's a good game.
Right.
But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well in the chat. We have a return of the Jasper here. What's up, Jasper? How's it going, man?
Yo, it's going pretty good. Finished Detroit Become Human the other day and Dragon Age. So that's what I've been up to. And it was a white Thanksgiving here, so got to see a bunch of snow.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's not something you're used to as much, right? Well, I guess Kentucky has snow, right?
Yeah.
So not too different for you. Where are you? You're in. Where are you at again
snow
right now?
Just not this early.
Colorado.
It's usually like January, February. But
is there a delay again?
I don't think so.
I think there is. Can you hear? Yeah. Is there? Yeah. Okay. There's a big delay, Jasper.
Yeah.
There wasn't, but now there is again. So anyway, I can tell you. Anyway.
I think there is. It just started like as soon as we started talking. Yeah.
I was noticing that. I think there's a delay. Anyway. Yeah, shout out to Fuzz. What's up, Fuzzy? How you doing?
Whatever.
We got to get this Starlink thing situated for Jasper. We need Elon's help. How are you doing, Fuzzy?
I'm doing fine. Glad to be here with you guys. Man, still recovering from road trip last week and turkey coma yesterday, but yeah. Man, just been playing some games, not on social media as much, so some stuff blew up that I wasn't aware of, and it's like, more complaining, but I don't know. I get it, but for the most part, enjoying the hell out of Stalker 2. That's been the big thing, and it's got a patch. Although I've had more crashes since the patch than prior to the patch on PC, but looks awesome, except for like one area where the walls kind of flicker, but everything else, like the storms, the invisible or invisible to visible creatures that sneak up on you, and you hear them growling, and it's like, all right, let me get in the corner so he doesn't sneak up behind me. But you just gotta shoot at the distortion in front of you, and hope you have enough ammo in the magazine. But outside of that, just been enjoying life, and man, so much to talk about with Xbox. Not the biggest news week, but still some fun stuff in there. But
Yeah.
man, gonna have a good night tonight.
Holiday week, so usually there's not much news. I mean, there's some stuff for us to talk about. I wanted to talk some about the Xbox Everywhere thing and like that been put on hold a little bit. What we have to look forward to. It seems like games media is kind of catching on to finally some of this stuff that we've been on about for years, which is interesting as well. But we'll have discussions about that. Pong Soul, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Had a nice Thanksgiving. I always love getting these long holiday weekends, so I took today off. So I've had a 4-day weekend. So that's beautiful. So it's that time of the year. I hope everybody that celebrates Thanksgiving had a fantastic time with your families or wherever you guys went as well. But gaming wise, wrapped up Diablo 4. Got through Vessel of Hatred. I finished out at just over 500 hours, and I have deleted it off my hard drive. So getting ready for Path of Exile 2, I've decided that I'm going to double dip Path of Exile 2 because it is cross progression. So I will be buying early access both on console and PC. Yeah, Vessel of Hatred wound up being disappointing. I got to agree. Ducato and others told me that the ending was decent. And it was better than the lead up to the ending. But the actual ending of that story or the way they left it off, I understand why they want to continue it. So I get that portion of it. But the lead up was not good. And the ending was much better than the whole middle part by a long shot, just because they had some really good cinematics in there. And obviously Mephisto is cool as shit. And so that was all fine. But had a great time finishing that up. Otherwise, a little bit of Call of Duty, of course. It's double XP weekend, I should say, extended weekend because of Thanksgiving, which is freaking awesome. So I'm working on some Call of Duty, and then otherwise, Aliens: Dark Descent that dropped into Game Pass. Let me tell you, interesting take. Totally, I thought it was turn-based, and it's actually not.
Nope.
It's actually action. So you're controlling the squad, but you can pause it, right? You can pause it. You can set it up so that it either slows down time or completely pauses it if you're going to do a special action. But otherwise, it's all live fire. And you are traveling through. Well, I mean, it depends what area you're in, but I'm in the base right now on the planet, and you are walking around the corridors live with the aliens also walking around live, and they are tracking you if they hear you. It is very damn cool. It's a totally different take than I thought it was going to be, and I'm actually very impressed with it. This is really cool. I'm having a good time with it. Thank God it's isometric, because I don't know if I'd be able to play it if it was anything else. Because god dang, man, even an isometric view, aliens popping out of vents will never not be scary and terrifying to me. So it's still even in this type of game, but and it's also cool because they have mechanics like your stress levels of your team and stuff, which affect your abilities and stuff like that. And you got to monitor all that. You got to weld yourself in special areas to rest and recover. So they really did a nice job capturing the whole atmosphere, even in the isometric top-down kind of view. I love it. I think it's cool as shit. So I've been having some fun with Aliens: Dark Descent. And then, of course, Stalker 2. Stalker 2 continues to be freaking on my rotation. It will be. This game, I did download the patch today. I played it for about an hour after the patch finally showed up on the Xbox. Didn't notice much. I haven't had any problems on the Xbox at all. I have one crash, and that's it. I haven't had any other issues. Obviously, encounters being totally random, things will pop up out of the blue. I know that's been a complaint of a lot of people. And I also noticed that when you load back in from a save point, something that was not there can all of a sudden be there. And it could be enemies, it could be dogs, it could be hogs, it could be whatever. And all of a sudden you're in a tight situation and you didn't save that way. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. But my God, GSC Game World, the atmosphere, there are just certain, it's hard to explain. Like Metro has that atmosphere down too, but it's different. GSC Game World, I don't know if it's a combination of kind of the whole package with the color palette that they use, the way that the graphics appear in game, the sound, the ambiance that they have, but it is different. There's just there's certain games that just ooze atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Stalker 2 oozes that atmosphere. Now, to me, it's very oppressive. And some games can be over the top oppressive, and I can't sit for long periods with them. Stalker 2 isn't over the top oppressive to me, but I was noticing it, man, just walking around today, in fact, and I was in the middle of just a gentle rainstorm. It wasn't one of the electrical storms, which can be wild and crazy. But it was just during a gentle rainstorm, and it had just, I was in a safe area. I was in a safer area. There was nothing attacking me. So I was just kind of walking real slow and taking my time and looking at things. And it just washed over me while I was sitting there walking, because it had this gentle music in the background too, but it's super subtle and sublime. It's not in your face, and it almost blends into the entire scene as you're walking around. And I was like, Jesus, GSC, man. You can tell from their documentary when they went out to these areas and actually took photographs and that kind of stuff, and really got a feel for what it was like around Chernobyl. You could tell that they brought so much of that back with them and put this into this game. That's why this game is going to go down as probably one of the greats of this year. And I think that's even despite the problems, despite the other part of the community that despises this game, doesn't like this game, thinks it's trash. I think this game is going to go down as one of the greats this year, especially as they continue to patch it. This current patch that they just put out today had 650 some fixes, but I think this one's going to be remembered much longer than a lot of the other games, a lot of the good to great games we got this year, because this, you guys know, I think this is the best year yet. But I think this one's going to be one of the top ones remembered just because of what they've done. It is super impressive. I can't get enough of it, man. So having a good time.
That's kind of where I'm at with Stalker 2, man. Like we were on FSP this week. We didn't even mean to, but we just ended up talking for like an hour about Stalker 2, just because like each one of us was enjoying it so much. And like the environment, you like hit that. It's like an environment game. Like it's like immersive as hell. Like you get there, and what I was saying on Monday was like, I don't know if I've played a game before, and I'm new to the Stalker franchise, right? I haven't played any of the other ones yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've played a game before where I have this much freedom, but I am still like, even in this freedom where I'm exploring everywhere, like it's not just run to your next objective or whatever, because you can't just do that.
No, you can't.
You know, like you can't just run to your next objective. Like you're constantly always have to be cautious about what's around you. You know what I mean? You have to be aware constantly.
Yep.
And it's really cool being in a world, even if it feels like, hey, there's just a bunch of bushes and trees and random buildings to go look in and stuff. But you never know when you might accidentally step on something, walk into something, fall off of something. There could be a storm happen out of nowhere. There could be, I was going to an objective and these like random blue sparks just like started destroying me. And it wasn't part of like the regular anomalies. This was part of like something with this specific area. They just like these blue things just exploded on me. I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, like, and I was like, how do I get around this? I don't even know. It took me a few tries. And you know, it's hard when there's a fucking death counter that taunts you in the face every time you die. I think I'm on like 25, 26 deaths at this point already.
I believe it.
But it doesn't ever feel like, because I'm saving constantly, like I've lost a lot or like get annoyed or frustrated. There's a lot of guns. There's like ammo. You have to be picky and choosy about what you carry if you don't want to always be encumbered, and you're living your life mostly encumbered so far in this. But yeah, there's just so much to enjoy with it. I've been playing a majority of the time on PC.
Okay.
I played on console too. I played it on console streaming. But everywhere I'm playing, I'm having a good experience so far. You know, obviously the PC experience is going to be like the best because it's just better hardware. You know, but like everywhere it's been really, really good, man. So I agree too. I think this game will be remembered more and played more years down the line than most of the games that came out this year. So it's just a special. I think overall, it's a special game.
It is. We don't get games like this all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones you just don't see anymore. This is, again, I always hate to harken back to the good old days like an old dude, but I do, because this is one of those games that we just don't see anymore. And maybe part of it is because of how they had to develop this game, that it has more of that old feel, but it's really hard to place, because there are people that will see it and say this is not a next gen game, right?
Yeah.
Just because of the visuals, right? They have a realistic look, but let's be real. We've seen prettier games out of Unreal Engine 5, especially, right? We've seen, but when you get into the game with the controller in hand and you're playing it, and everything comes to bear from, again, like I was saying, from the sounds to the lighting, even when it's not perfect, the sounds, the lighting, the graphics, that again, atmosphere, that oppressiveness of being in a real area that exists. Obviously the supernatural shit's, the made up shit, but this really exists. And they went out and took pictures. So you kind of, like, that's what I was saying. Like, you can tell that they took so much of that back with them and really put it into the game. So when you throw it all together and you're playing it, you don't think to yourself, oh, this is just, this is a cute AA game, right? Or this is a nice little AA game they got here. No, it feels like a next gen game when you're actually playing it, because of how much is working together. Even if it's not perfect, even if people can nitpick the fuck out of this game, still all of it together, the immersion, like you said, Mav, is a next gen level of immersion. And you just don't see it done this way. There's games that do parts of this. There's games that have done certain aspects of this, but there are very few studios that can put it all together. And for GSC to do it in the middle of what they went through, again, is extra special on top of it. But they obviously, when they put that team together, and the documentary talked about it, they grabbed some very fucking talented people out of this industry that just were Stalker fans that want to come work on Stalker 2. Because this is not a team that feels like it was just thrown together when you play this game out of the blue again. This is a next-gen experience to me, just from the feelings that you get walking around in this game. And they've nailed every aspect. And I know people are going to be happy with this patch, because some of the complaints about the cost and the sale price, that's all now included in this first patch. So, and I did verify it. The anomalies, like the anomalies before, I had some smaller of the anomalies with me, or I forget what artifacts. Thank you. I knew it was an A word. I had the smaller artifacts were selling for 7,500. They're now 12,000 when I went back into town. So they've definitely upped the, that, and they've brought down the cost of repairs as well. But just, again, hats off to GSC. This is a current gen game. Even if visually you can look at it and say it's not that, even if you can look at it and say, well, it's got bugs and the lighting isn't always great, and there's all this weird shit that happens. That's always been in Stalker games. And again, Bethesda, that's kind of Bethesda's style too. Again, their games try to do things ambitiously, and it causes problems, and there's bugs all the damn time. And I know some people say you can't excuse that. I think you can. And I think GSC created an experience here where it is deserving of excusing some bugs. Not that you can't be critical of this game. You could absolutely be critical of this game. It's not perfect, but my God, what it set out to do and what it's trying to be, they nailed it with an A+. And that's why, like we just got the talking, Mav, I do believe this will be remembered for a long ass time as a great sequel to what was already a beloved game that people like you, Mav, never played. Only, it wasn't big outside of the PC world, because that's where it was at. And only even that had a very fanatical fan base back in the day. But now Stalker 2 is introducing people to this world, and you can tell there's a lot of people that are just super excited for where this can go. And I said this last week, I'm so happy that it's selling no matter what, because GSC Game World deserves to continue. And I can't wait to see what they go with this, with DLC, with Stalker 3. This now, again, proved that Stalker 2 has a big enough fan base to be in this gaming space in 2024 and beyond. So now I think this franchise continues forward, and I'm so excited for that, because what they do without a war around them, look out. Look out. I can't wait.
Yeah, there's just so many little things that I love about this thing. Like, and I started off as a stalker. I didn't do the beginning thing. So I think, and I don't know if this is a bug on my part or if it's intentional, because I started as a stalker, there's like a guide, like when you're in the menu or your PDA, all the way to the right. I guess normally it would give you like hints and tips. that's blocked off or grayed out for me, but I see like the little orange dot over there each time. But it took me a while to figure out how to change ammo, like from regular ammo to armor piercing to the expanding rounds and stuff like that. And it seems so simple, but it's like once you see it, then you realize, oh, it was right in front of me the entire time. Like it's the same spot where you can change from auto to semi-auto and so forth, where you can change the ammo if the weapon is geared to do like armor piercing rounds. Like my one SMG, I changed from its standard rounds to 45 ACP, and I'm just rocking that one with armor piercing because that's been the best way to put at least the humans down. It gets them pretty quick. Shotguns, I wasn't really into them now, but I'm seeing how effective they are with the mutants,
and they're also effective with humans.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
true.
To the face, it's over with.
But there's just so many little things, and like picking people's pockets. Like I know people were complaining about, I guess there's no stealing in Avowed or whatever. Well, if you're upset about that, play this game because you can steal pretty much anything and everything that's not nailed down pretty much. And sometimes you'll get caught. Sometimes people be nonchalant about it, but if they're dead, there's nobody to complain. So, run their pockets at that point. But just getting used to the different attachments on a lot of the weapons, what ones will work on multiple pieces, and what stuff is, well, you can always tell which stuff is story related that you can't put in your stash and all that. And be mindful of where your stash is and where beds are at like the any bases you come across and stuff. But I just like the environment stuff. And it's sometimes you get so battered by the environment that you start getting skittish about the least little bit of trash floating in the wind. Like I love the fact that there's wind and dust blowing around. And sometimes that's an anomaly and sometimes it's not. Yeah. So I'm up there always throwing nuts at stuff. And when you were making mention about that blue light, I start just throwing a bunch of bolts at it and it just seemed to pop and leave me alone and just create a lot of explosions. But when it hits you, man, it saps a lot of your energy out. But there's just so many cool things about this game. And it's like the mutants play games with you. It's almost like after you take out a few of them, they can tell, all right, they're going to wait until you come further along because they'll run away and then they'll come back or they'll come around the truck and bite at your heels on the other side or something along those lines. But it's just so much fun. It's like I said on FSP, it reminds me of what I wanted the Dark Zone to be, but in single player form, because you can double cross the people and some of them are going to try and double cross you. And you might have a choice with like pretty much every mission has at least two outcomes, it seems, where you can have a choice that's, the on the up and up, or, just all in it for yourself, or, maybe you're helping some third person kind of thing. So it's just so much fun. And it looks like everything has purpose or meaning because certain decisions will quickly cut off certain paths. So definitely save scum this game. If you're not sure if you're making the right decision or if you feel like you're going to have to make a decision between, hey, do I help this guy here or the other guy that looks shady, just make a couple of saves and then try both outcomes. But yeah, I'm just enjoying this game.
Yeah. It's one of those games where it's like everybody's playthrough is going to be different. And I don't know how different mine is than anybody else's. You know what I mean? Because I just know the choices that I made and the path that I'm on, right? And it's just like awesome to know that like when I hear Pong talk about it, his experience is different than mine. When I hear you talk about it, your experience is different than mine. You know what I mean? So we're all doing different stuff. And part of it too is like the game doesn't hold your hand at all. You know what I mean? So like a lot of this stuff, like I'm hearing you talk about changing the ammo. I'm like, what? Like, oh, okay. I need to figure that out. I something I was thinking about earlier, like I need a chest somewhere to store shit. But like I don't know if you can get your own or if you just pick a random one and the stuff will stay there or
there's
what?
A safe one in town. The first town.
Okay.
Well,
right
so
where
I
you can sleep.
Almost every place
Yep.
you can sleep, there should be an
Yes.
orange box nearby.
Yes.
Okay, so those are good to put your shit in, and then
Yes.
it'll be there.
Yeah.
Right
I
on.
mean, you could put them in the blue ones too,
Can.
but a crash might wipe it. So that's the only.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I never
I've seen
trust
other
persistent stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's like Bethesda too. If
Yeah.
you can technically leave it anywhere in lockers or whatever, but whether or not it stays is it's a iffy. So at best. But yeah, you look for those orange boxes next to the beds.
Like this, Stalker 2 for me is my Starfield of, you know what I mean? Like
it's like a
do
hardcore. version.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like it's this year's
Yeah.
Starfield for me. You know,
that's what I love.
Right? Your own
And,
story.
Yeah, in this world, like I mean, double crossing somebody. Like I just completed a side mission, and I didn't like the dude's attitude, so I completed the side mission, got the reward, and blew him away, and took all his shit.
Yeah,
I just love that. Right? That's because it fits the world. The world is at that crossroads where everybody in the zone could double cross you at any freaking time, right? So it just fits with the narrative. But I love games with that freedom.
Is there a reason you would want to keep all the PDAs you pick up?
No, because once you get the information, Fuzz, it's on your map, even if you sell it.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I just put them in my storage,
Yeah.
but I've seen some of them, depending on your choices, that used to have the red mark, and then the red mark goes away, and then now it came back. So
right.
Okay.
There's some PDAs, if you're searching for random stashes.
Yeah.
Once you find the thing that they put on your map, I think it
stays
complete.
Yep,
and you could just either sell it or put it in your stash. I got like 20 something of them in my stash right now, and a couple of them in different colors too, which there's some in white, some in blue, but most of them are in gray.
Right on. Man, gaming glorious right now.
It is.
I got this at the movies last night. The big thumb.
God.
It's a Gladiator 2 thumb.
Yeah.
I need to see that, but I haven't seen it yet. But I got the thumb.
I need
Cool.
to see that
You got the
movie
thumb.
too.
Are we?
I love the
So
first
we're
one.
all thumbs up on Stalker.
Yes, we're all thumbs up on Stalker too.
I'm also thumbs up on Flight Sim.
I've seen you keep playing that.
I haven't even had a chance.
Fuck, man, it is so good, dude. Like, I don't like Pong's got the Magic Xbox Series X. I guess I have the Magic PC and Xbox as well, because on launch day the only issue I had was they had turned on a queue, right? But I haven't had any other issues with Flight Sim 2024. I think most people have had it ironed out. I know in the UK and other places it had lasted longer with some of the issues they had with it. But man, like I was just doing flights and free flying and stuff into areas and like discovering landmarks and shit. I love this game, man. It's so good. Now a lot of the stuff obviously you could do in 2020's version, but it just seems like a little bit more detailed. It also runs smoother on Xbox this time, which is, I don't know if it's because more is streamed in from the cloud that it takes less resources like on the actual console or what. But overall, man, I've been having a hell of a time with that game. So I've been streaming that. I'm maybe going to stream some Stalker 2 this weekend some more. And y'all can watch me die over and over again on that. There's this one part I just did where you go, it's like a certain pathway, and like I even noticed like they did a good job with the compass, with the objective on the compass, because like it didn't just send me constantly. It was like a weird way to get to where I needed to go, so they kept moving the objective marker like slightly, when I got to the point where I need to go to the next point, but it's not all in your face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just a lot of smart things these devs did with that game. Loving it. I can't believe we got those like one day after each other. Flight Sim and Stalker 2, both in Game Pass. Absolutely fucking insane. And we still have Indiana Jones to look forward to, which I think is going to be awesome. I want to get some meta predictions for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, did I know we talked about it on Monday, Fuzz, with the new deep dive stuff. Did you have a chance to catch that at all?
Yeah.
Did I? Let's see. No, I don't think. Did I watch part of it? I can't remember if I watched part of it this week or not.
It's like the Xbox podcast.
Yeah, no, I know which one it was. I I saw it. I'm just trying to think if I actually watched it. Did I get like 10 minutes of it or something? I think I might have.
There was like most of the info is just in natural conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I probably no, because if I got to think about it, I probably didn't, or I did at work and I just don't remember. But I've been sold on it, so I didn't need to watch it anymore because I've seen enough. Like it's Indiana Jones. Like I'm ready. Like they've captured it. So I was thinking to myself, do I really want to watch it? And I'm like, I don't need to see anymore. I'm set. So but anyways, I heard you say there was some cool stuff coming out of it though.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the overarching theme throughout that whole thing was just like how true they're and how passionate they were about staying true to every little aspect of Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
like,
I had heard that Spielberg and Lucas they talked about. Did they talk about that? And like they were constantly involved in this, like throughout the process. I think that was mentioned in that interview.
The point. Remember what we were talked about before? How we noticed like they even had the humor, like with like the animations and stuff. They mentioned that they said like the humor throughout is something also important. It said like it's also like even the way we animate the characters and stuff like that, which was cool to hear them say that because that was something that we had like noticed during the trailers.
Right. Absolutely.
So Fuzz, what are you thinking, Fuzzy, for a meta prediction for Indiana Jones Great Circle?
Because it's still an Xbox first party title, and I know it sounds crazy with Xbox tax and all, but I'm gonna say
don't forget they know it's coming to PlayStation though. It's already been announced.
True, but they'll give it they'll give it the higher rating when it comes to PS5 because the DualSense makes it so much better. Yeah, right. But no, I honestly, I think it should realistically probably get somewhere in the 88, 89 range, but I'm going to say it winds up being between an 83 and 85 for the Xbox and PC version. And then it'll magically get a 5-point bump. So we'll see.
Okay. Where you at, Pong?
I mean, I'm kind of right in line with Fuzzy's thinking. I think it actually is going to, I'll go 86.
86?
Yeah. I think there's enough reviewers who are indie fans. I think because they know it's coming to PlayStation, that will mitigate some of that stuff. Like Fuzzy said, I wouldn't doubt that it's going to have patches. It'll have the DualSense that once the PlayStation version comes out, it'll get reviewed better. Like that's going to happen no matter what. But I think that will mitigate some of that upfront stuff, nonsense. But I think there's enough Indiana Jones fans, and I think that this is going to hit those Indiana Jones feels for everybody. Now, again, being that it is more of an immersive sim instead of Uncharted or Tomb Raider-esque, which is something that people already talked about. I can see it dipping a little bit because there was a lot of reviewers who didn't like Dishonored's version of immersive sims, right? But I think that Machine Games is going to nail this, and from the previews, that's what it sounds like. So I think it's going to appeal to enough of the reviewers that it's going to maintain above mid 80s. So I think 86 is what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I was kind of like in the 87-ish type range. I've seen a lot of positivity about it. I think there will be some people that just don't like the kind of game that it is.
Correct.
Like that it's first
Stealthy
person,
puzzles,
stealthy, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how it's going to be judged at the end of the day. Some games surprise me all the time. How like I would think Stalker 2 would definitely be reviewed higher than it is. But you can never kind of predict these things. It kind of just seems like some kind of behind the scenes like mentality that happens between the critics and stuff that kind of dictate some of this stuff, right? But I think it's gonna do pretty well. Also, I saw a couple people talk about this in the chat, and I got a question for you guys because this is going back to Stalker 2. Oh yeah, by the way, Jasper, shout out to you, man. Sorry, it's like his hotspot wasn't holding up tonight, so he won't be coming back.
He's in the zone, that's why.
Yeah, he's in the zone.
The radiation's a little high tonight.
Yeah. But the dead zone thing everybody's been talking about. I haven't personally had an issue with that since launch.
Yep.
I played on console and PC. I haven't once noticed anything personally, but I keep seeing people saying they're waiting to even play this game until the dead zone issues fixed. So I just ask because I know all three of us have played quite a bit of this game.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm curious if you guys have had any dead zone controller issues.
No, I mentioned it from day one. I didn't have that at all, and now I played it with the patch, and the guns feel the same.
Yeah,
So, no,
same for me.
I didn't.
Did you have any issues with dead zone stuff, Fuzzy?
No, no. About the only thing I guess is the closest, and it was, I don't know if I was drunk, not in real life, but in the game, or if it was that because I was experiencing radiation. There was a couple of times where I ran, and you could feel them kind of leaning to one side, and it wasn't like dead zone type of drift or stick drift type of thing. It was more like I was trying to haul ass from those rats because there were so many of them.
Uh-huh.
And I think I had been exposed to radiation. So I took a sip of vodka. And when I ran out of the building, it feel like he stumbled to the left. And I'm like, well, is it the head bob thing or no? It's I'm on an Elite 2 on PC. Although I've played probably about a half hour to an hour on my Series X just to make sure the saves and all that are in sync. But primarily playing on PC with no stick drift or dead zone issues or anything.
Yeah. I'm sure it's an issue that exists because people have talked about it, but like just because it's out there doesn't mean necessarily that you will have the problem. Like the game's in Game Pass. So if you're interested in the game, I would recommend giving it a try instead of just waiting because you hear about this thing, right? Because I know that none of like we're just talking about now, like none of us have had the issue personally, and it could just be because our specific controllers just don't have any drift on it that we're using right now, and it like the game could be very sensitive to drift, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's a thing. I'm
Or
not
it's just
sure.
one of those random bugs, man, that just
Yeah.
nowadays some people get and some people don't like ever experience. Again, we saw that firsthand with my Battlefield copy, saw it with Cyberpunk. Like there's just nowadays in games you can have the exact same hardware and the game will play differently on those two pieces, right? Those two machines. It's crazy. It's weird, but it does.
Yeah.
It seems to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I see people in the chat saying they've had it. Like, Fuzzy Tomato says, I had dead zone problems every few minutes. I'd randomly get stick drift for a few seconds. So, like, I think what it is that, like, the game is just very sensitive to stick drift. So, if you have the least bit of it on your controller that most games are going to be able to ignore because of the dead zones, maybe it'll pick up on it. But if you don't have any at all on your controller, maybe you're good. I don't know. Just a theory. Not sure. Rodimus says PC Gamer's review of Indiana Jones will be a 2 out of 5. We'll wait and see, man. But yeah, it's I kind of wanted to get into kind of the main topic here, which is Xbox everywhere. Xbox everywhere. This is an Xbox. That's an Xbox. I'm podcasting from an Xbox, everything. And well, it's as some of the media has started to say, like Tom Warren and stuff, that soon it would make sense why they're doing all these ads and stuff. But then Sarah Bond came out with a tweet the other day, letting everybody know that because of a stay on the ruling for the Google versus Epic case, which Epic won, and then Google had appealed. So, and they had a certain deadline to do things and all this kind of stuff. So, they were granted a stay to allow the, I guess, the courts to have a chance to really look at the appeal, right? So that process has caused, because there's a stay on it, has caused Xbox to not be able to release their storefront on Android devices, which is their big move. Now, Google, and Sarah Bond made this tweet. She was saying, due to this, we have the functionality ready to go. Everything's ready. As soon as there's a final decision, we can implement the functionality. Everything's good to go, right? So I think that was probably part of the plan with the whole advertising and the ads for Xbox everywhere, that they had planned for this to be kind of coinciding at some kind of level for, hey, this is an Xbox, you can actually buy your games on it, and they were hoping to be able to announce a lot of that stuff to coincide with that, but it didn't end up happening because of the stay. So there's been kind of a delay on this implementation and stuff. So I'm curious what it's going to look like, though, and what it actually means for Xbox once this actually gets implemented, because this is going to happen as long as the appeal doesn't actually get approved, right? And then they end up, it opens up a whole nother can of worms. But it seems like as soon as there's a final on this thing, this is going to roll out, and it could happen at the end of this year. Who knows how long this is going to drag on for? But buying your games on mobile devices, buying your games anywhere you are, being able to play them via the cloud anywhere after you purchase them, being able to have access to all the games that you buy and own that way, is really what the Xbox Everywhere thing is all about. So it's going to be pretty interesting, and I think it's is kind of like the next step for. Remember, everybody talked about the future functionality of the cloud and the app stores and the open ecosystems and all this kind of stuff. Xbox is one step ahead on it. But I'm curious if we are going to see this sooner or later, and if this delay is actually going to turn into something that is not going to end up happening. Right? It is a if the appeal gets approved, I'm wondering what kind of ramifications that has for Xbox's plans and all that kind of stuff as well. Is this something you've been following at all, Fuzz?
A little bit. Like my biggest thing is I'm still amazed that I know it would be a big undertaking to bring Windows Phone back, but it definitely shows that when they gave up on something a little too soon, possibly, how it bites them in the end. And hopefully they learn from this, seeing how much of an uphill battle it is dealing with Apple and dealing with Google. But I think things will work themselves out in the end. They will ultimately have a store presence on Android and Apple devices, be it maybe separate from the built-in stores. The only drawback I see is that could take 4 years from now. That could take even longer, because Apple is going to drag their feet as long as they possibly can, and until they're in the target hair or line sight for fines and penalties and things along those lines. And I think Google will probably do the same, although they give up a little bit faster than Apple does in some regard. But I think it's something that Epic eventually is able to clear. Microsoft will piggyback alongside or be alongside them with their own store. And then I guess the big thing from there is how easy will it be to circumvent the Play Store for this, Xbox store? Is it going to be something that takes, 6 steps, 22 steps, a whole bunch of warning pages that you have to accept, kind of thing, like Apple tried to do initially? But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because it won't be just cell phones, it'll be tablets and things like that. And I think that's where they stand the best chance to make some headway with people that have tablets in front of their kids, or use tablets as their backup book or electronic book, or their second TV remote, as well as a second screen while they're watching movies and looking at IMDb and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, but I think it might take some time, because these companies, all of them are trillion-dollar companies, so they're going to spend millions, hundreds of millions of dollars dragging stuff out if they can, to just make it that much of a fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on. I like, FTC is still trying to, like, the FTC actually just did a big launched an investigation to Microsoft for their AI and cloud businesses and cybersecurities businesses and stuff like that too. It's like a farewell, a going away farewell present for Microsoft via Lena Khan. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But hey, Pong, what about you, man? Like this Xbox everywhere. First off, do y'all think that it was planned to be launched with the advertising for this is an Xbox stuff?
I think it goes more than this because this was already kind of known it was coming, right?
Yeah,
I think the Tom Warren and Jez comments and stuff about that this is going to make sense. I think there's something else coming.
something else technology wise.
Yeah, technology wise, or some kind of announcements that are going to start putting this vision in a much clearer spotlight, I guess, as far as how far they're going to go with it. It just feels to me like those comments were because we knew this. Like this wasn't a surprise. Like it was a surprise that they, that obviously Google had filed the appeal and that the courts had granted a temporary stoppage on all this. But it wasn't like a unknown thing that
Yeah,
all of a sudden Sarah came out and said, "Oh, by the way, surprise, we were going to do this, but now we can't." So the surprise is kind of spoiled. So yeah, I think that there's something bigger here. Go ahead, Fuzz. What do you think? Do you think there's something bigger going on or something more than just this to go along with those ads?
I kind of hope there is as well. The big thing I'm kind of waiting on is them figuring out how they can work with third parties on console licensing on a non-console device, which I think that's the next big step. And the minute that they can crack that, whether it's some sort of additional revenue sharing beyond the 30%, I mean, not but beyond the 70% to these publishers, or some sort of, small percentage that they get out of the service platform itself. I'm hoping they can say, hey, if you have that ROG Ally over there or you have that Steam Deck, your console games can now be played there without having to do the console streaming to that device. We've worked out with, all but these two publishers, and one of them probably being Rockstar. But all other publishers are okay with their console games being played on a PC device or a tablet device without you having to purchase this additional copy over here kind of thing.
so that would mean like a ROG Ally X or something, be able to like natively play your console games. Is that what you're getting at, or
natively in the sense of it'll be like a virtual machine. It
like an
won't be
emulation?
streaming, but it'll be emulation because it's different hardware, so it has to kind of make up for certain things, but it will be playable. Some games might not have that like that what do you call it, frame boost or whatever
FPS
that they have on console, but a majority of them will still be playable. So if you bought this Ubisoft Watch Dogs 2 title for your Xbox One X, 4 or 5 years ago, you don't have to rebuy it to play it on Ally X. You can link your account. You have access without having to do streaming. You can download the app. It plays it in a Xbox console app kind of thing that you've put on your ROG Ally, and now you can play it on the go. I'm hoping that's my big hope, because that's the whole thing I think is behind the Xbox handheld. That will be the major selling factor, that it be a little bit easier without having to figure out how to download apps and all that good stuff. It'll just work without you even having to really think about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about what all this means. Like a couple weeks ago, I was in the on Iron Lords, and like Hip Hop Gamer was there, and Paris, and also Addict and King David, and it seemed like some of them knew about something that was going to be revealed with regarding this kind of stuff, like something that they had seen behind the scenes or talked to somebody that in the know about, something that was going to be shown this year that was going to be like holy shit crazy. And like even the Hip Hop Gamer was like crazy excited about it, saying it was going to be like mind-blowing type stuff. So like I don't know what that means, man, because like if it's just like y'all are right, like if it's just the mobile store thing, that's something that we've already known about. Sarah Bond's already talked about it. But like I start seeing like, okay, like Paris said he wants to have a long form discussion about Xbox everywhere. He made a tweet about that. I see a Colt doing more videos about this whole thing going forward, and all this other kind of stuff. And it seems like just in general, like behind the scenes, like there's some kind of like reinvigorated excitement about the possibility of like what this future for the Xbox ecosystem looks like.
Mhm.
And people that would know more than us, right, seem to maybe have a glimpse of something that could be pretty damn exciting, but I don't know what it is. The
Mhm.
only thing that we've known about for sure is like obviously that you can play your games on the cloud on the console and PC on mobile and all that stuff. They're adding the purchasing functionality to mobile as well to be able to allow you to play any game you own that way as well as what they're talking about. I'll even go with Sarah Bond's tweet. She said, "At Xbox, we want to offer players more choice on how and where they play, including be able to play and buy games directly from the Xbox app. I recently shared our ambition to unlock these features first with the Google Play Store on Android devices in the US, while other app stores adapt to meet consumer demand. Due to a temporary administrative stay recently granted by the courts, we are currently unable to launch these features as planned. Our team has the functionality built and ready to go live as soon as the court makes final decision. We are eager to launch and give more choice and flexibility to players." So, coinciding with this launch, is that potentially is that just a piece of it? Right? And then that would be also maybe when they announce or reveal whatever the other aspects are, or is that gonna just remain something separate and just a component of it? Like,
I
it
think it's
is a
just a
lot.
component. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a component of the bigger picture. Again, however long it takes, and don't forget, Google's facing more than just this,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Again,
A
the
lot.
DOJ is talking about breaking them completely up, right? That they might
Mhm.
have to give up Android completely on top of the search,
Yeah, that'd be
right?
like when Windows and
So
Microsoft,
right,
like, thing
right.
back in the day, right?
So they've got bigger issues that might still open stuff up. And to give a little bit more context as well, Google did make a statement saying that Google Tom Warren put this out. Google has responded to
Yeah.
Microsoft's claims that it had built an Xbox game store and Android on Android, but can't launch it. Quote, Microsoft has always been able to offer their Android users the ability to play and purchase Xbox games directly from their app. They've simply chosen not to. Well, good old Tim Sweeney, of
Yeah.
course, Mr. Epic himself, followed that up underneath Tom and said, Google's statement is deceitful. Shame on them. They well know that the 30% cut they demand is far more than all of the profit from game streaming. They know this because they blew hundreds of millions of dollars building the failed Stadia game business themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think Google has bigger issues here. They've obviously got the pause, they got the delay for this, but I think the inevitable is on its way, one way or another, right? Because again, it's not right. The U.S. DOJ is pushing this, and even if that changes now with the new administration coming in, they still got to face EU. They
Yeah.
still got all these other places. And the EU is actually a bigger problem for corporations right now than the United States is. So I think this is inevitable. I think that at some point these stores are going to open up. Does that mean that anybody can break the duopoly that Google and Apple have? I don't know. I think that's not an easy question to answer. And I think it's a mountain to climb. Obviously Microsoft, with the money that they have, certainly has the ability to do so. Out of everybody, they got probably the best chance to do so, but this is not a guaranteed slam dunk success either way. So that's why I think, Mav, overall, this ad campaign that they got going is something bigger. Right. This is a piece of it, right? And we've seen other pieces of it, obviously cloud streaming and all that kind of stuff. But I think they've got bigger plans, and it wasn't all hinging on the mobile store. That's that they'd love to have a big giant success. They'd love to break into that, and they're going to try, but that was never guaranteed. I don't even think internally they can guarantee that it's going to work. How many people have tried? How many people have failed? How many times have Microsoft themselves tried in the phone business and not worked out? So I don't think internally they were even counting on this happening. I just think that there's something bigger out there, like you were mentioning, that some people must know of, and that's why Tom Warren said what he said. That's why Jez said what he said, and obviously you got the impression that other people know, which I believe. Again, people do talk. There's something going on, and it's something big. It's something bigger that is going to give meaning to this ad campaign that they have, even more so by Christmas time here is what I'm expecting, or into the new year. I think we hear something big. So,
I mean, it's stuff that's been going on like we all year, right? Like remember the leaked emails or leaked whatever, but like they sent company emails out to all the staff about Xbox Everywhere stuff earlier this year in January when people started freaking out about games going to PlayStation and this and that, right? That there was people saying, "Oh, look at this email sent from blah 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 to the staff at Microsoft talking about Xbox Everywhere and stuff. They're really doing it and all those kind of things, right?" And I was trying to delineate like what really is the difference between that and Xbox Anywhere? Because, like, that's something that we've already had,
Yeah.
right? Like, I remember at the beginning of this generation, we're all talking about, "Oh my god, you can play Xbox on the fucking fridge." You know, like, you can play Xbox in a car. You can play Xbox on anything that has a screen that's like, cloud stream and stuff. So, like, so far with the like this is an Xbox thing and then all of the stuff that we've got with the advertising, it's still just functionality for the most part that we've already had. Yeah, they added finally like there's 50 games now that that is starting with for if you own it, you can cloud stream those games. So that's part of it, right? And they're gonna end up adding more and more and more and blow it up to where hopefully they have like most games eventually. But it's just really interesting to figure out what that other element is. And that's the thing that's like hard to guess, man. And I don't know what they're working on or what they're cooking. And usually we are pretty good at speculating and guessing on these kind of things. But this one in particular, with whatever this is, I'm kind of dumbfounded on. And maybe Fuzzy has the right idea with that. Maybe it is have something to do with figuring out like licensing across all those different devices and using emulation and all that kind of stuff. And that would literally make those devices Xbox, right? It would literally make my PC and Xbox. If I could actually access all my console games and play it at least at the same quality as I can on an Xbox Series X, yeah, emulation or whatever, then that transforms that pretty much into the same console experience I would have somewhere else, right? And if you could do that on a phone using whatever controller you want, or you could do that on a tablet, or you could do that wherever, like that would be a game changer. Imagine the handheld market at that point, like the ROG Allies and all those other kind of things, having
Mhm.
access to that entire actual library, being able to play something like that, just at your disposal natively, like at a higher quality. That's pretty damn crazy to think
Yeah.
about, right? So I don't know if that's what it means or what, because I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I think that'd be somebody that knows a lot about tech would have to answer that, and emulation and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we've ever had emulation of a current gen console to like different devices.
Well, I think the closest thing
Well, maybe a
now.
Switch, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've seen like or Switch stuff on PC until they got their lawyers involved.
Yeah.
But like these consoles, and people have said this before, these are probably, or this generation's probably the closest to PC as far as that x86, architecture as it's ever been. Like it's, I guess you could say within a generation or two of the chipsets, but the way these games are designed, that generational difference in chipset isn't that much. It just comes down to, are you going to run it natively at 4K, or are you going to, downscale it a bit, or run it at a lower res and up res it, from 1080 or 1440 or something like that. And I think if Microsoft has the money and the will to work with publishers to say, you know what, instead of giving you guys 70%, we'll give 75% or something like that, just to kind of get this across the finish line for this type of stuff. I think most publishers would probably be okay with it, considering it would be a nice big store. The drawback would be, something like your 2K. They're greedy. They want as much money as they can get, and they're probably the guys that are like, bump it up to 85, and then we'll agree to it or something. But I think that's probably the lower hanging fruit for them to be able to get this done. The bigger picture, although I don't see it happening, I know there's been rumors of it even at the beginning of this generation, but the even bigger fish to fry or catch, or however you want to look at it, would be for them to acquire Steam, which that would be huge, but it would be in a different way where I guess that would make it easier for them to get everything that's written for Steam on an Xbox. So then that would solve some of the skipping issue that they get, and then have it where your Xbox Series S or Series X console emulates a PC, is able to download the stuff since it's not too far off encoding from PC stuff. It's just that the difference would be between it running in Proton or with a Proton layer versus, the regular Windows layer kind of thing. That would be the other big alternative, but either one of those I'd be happy with, because it gets me to the point where my Steam Deck can play the 700 plus games I have on Xbox, of which I probably have about 60 of them also on either PC or PlayStation at some point. But it would definitely open things up for me and make my life a lot easier, or a lot more convenient, knowing that I could play some of my older Xbox One games and Series X games that aren't on PC, or that if they are on PC, I'd have to buy a second copy. Like I wouldn't necessarily have to buy another copy of Diablo to play it on PC, which that's one of those things where it's like, I now know that I could probably download Diablo via Game Pass, but it's like, I just want it where I already own it once. Just give me the app and link it to my account, and I can play it, and then I can just continue buying, expansions without having to figure out, do I want to buy the expansion on PC or do I want to buy the expansion on console, kind of thing. But fingers crossed, it hopefully it's something along those lines. But just knowing how crazy this world is with Xbox, sometimes they'll finally get it figured out where we can sell digital copies. It'll be like, well, that's great. It's not what we asked for today, but hey, we'll take it.
It's like I'm just trying to figure out what this missing element is. And we can speculate on it and stuff, but like there's something else to all of this that they have that we don't know, and that's exciting for what it's worth. Like it's exciting to have something like that maybe we just can't figure out right now. But man, it's crazy too when you really think about it, like comparing ecosystems, right? Like PlayStation's going that direction, but like they're celebrating now. Hey, on the PS Portal, you can actually, via an update, you can now stream games that are in PS Plus, as well as console stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so first off, you got to buy the device, right? Then you gotta subscribe to the subscription, and then you, instead of just, it's a console streaming and cloud streaming device that you have to buy separately. Like this is something that's finally being celebrated. It's cool. It makes it worth more having, right? But you look at the difference of the ecosystems and where they're at, like as far as consumer choice and access to your games, that's just like so far behind.
Yeah. Like the Logitech G Cloud was doing everything that this thing was doing, like almost a whole year and a half before it, kind of thing, because you could stream Game Pass on it.
Oh, you could do
console streaming and all that other stuff too.
You could do a million more things with the Logitech G Cloud than you can at PS Portal.
I mean, you can even do, was it YouTube as an app on it as well or something, and Twitch, and
well, it's like I think it's an Android device. Like it's just it's basically like a little tablet, right? So you can pretty much just treat it like a little handheld mobile device, and then do your cloud streaming on it too. So, but like that's the thing, is like Xbox gamers have already had access to that same kind of tech on multiple devices for years now.
Mm-hmm.
On tablets, on phones, if you got a Backbone or a Kishi, you can actually, like for PlayStation, phones and tablets have more functionality than PS Portal does.
Yeah.
Right. So but it's just weird how the mentality is like to celebrate that at this point where everybody's been criticizing Xbox doing the Xbox everywhere stuff, but then the Portal has an update to allow you to finally play your games, and people are happy because it's a native, like not a native device, but it's a PlayStation branded device, right?
Right, because it's still they can still claim exclusivity to the ecosystem.
Right.
That's the mentality, because you have to have a PlayStation 5, you have to have a Portal. It's still with all in the family, so therefore now it's celebrated. Like, more gamers playing outside of the ecosystem is not good, but more options within the PlayStation ecosystem that allows them to continue to use the premium experience propaganda over and over again that they've, created. That is okay now. So I mean, again, yeah, it falls right in line.
It's just weird. Like I've always had a hard time like with this mindset of like, because it's if you look at your own experience, like, and it doesn't make any damn sense. But I don't know.
No, but they're just clinging to the fact that they believe that doing it the way that Xbox is doing it. And again, I've got my criticism of it, but they believe that actually is going to that is a part of what they consider is quality control problems with the games, that it is going to in fact bring lesser games to bear on the gamers themselves and in this industry, because it's they don't have to produce premium quality for their ecosystem only, that because they're going after such a big piece of the pie. So it is what it is. They cling to the idea that because Sony is still focused on the console, which is a fact, and that they are still focused on their exclusivity, that their games continuously that are still better quality overall. Their experiences are better quality overall than anybody who games within the Xbox ecosystem on any device. So it is a weird mentality, because again, we've already seen issues now with Sony first party games this generation that have not lived up to that standard. In fact, there's been some that would argue there's been a decline in their premium quality, but they ignore that and say, no, that's not really happening, that this is why we still get the great games we do. And they forget about the Concords. They allow all that stuff to go to the wayside, and all the other canceled games and closed studios this generation. That's all means nothing. That means actually they're maintaining their quality control. Like that's it's always goalposts. They're always going to move. They never will stay steady. So yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
I mean, all those great games. I mean, great remixes or remasters, or like, I don't know. Me as a PlayStation 5 owner, like, I just don't get this whole clinging to the console thing. Like, I would much rather have Gran Turismo on PC and let the mod community get a hold of it, so that way we don't have to use Assetto Corsa anymore. Like, it's not a knock against Assetto Corsa. It's a great game as far as with a lot of the mods that are out there. But can you imagine the generational leap of the base of the game? GT7 is a much better base game than Assetto Corsa is. So if mods get to it, that would be that much more of an elevated experience at that point. So I don't know why they want to fight this PC movement type of thing. And considering like they are remastering games where the PC aspect usually winds up getting the better graphical fidelity anyway. So you wouldn't have to necessarily wait for a remaster or wait until next generation. PC will automatically, allow for that, or allow for mods. That it just boggles my mind, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't have to Nate Dogg's some random Xbox games in the chat that didn't do as hot. We can play the same game on PlayStation too, but like, is it worth it?
Oh, I love you, Nate Dogg. So you can't, again, if every gamer was the same, this would be a boring world. So again, if you guys feel that PlayStation games are a better experience and more premium, that is perfectly fine.
It depends on what you like, I think.
It depends on what you like. Yeah, exactly. Because 100%. Again, I don't own a PlayStation for the first time in any generation, this generation, because they have done nothing that makes me want to go buy a PlayStation. They don't have a game outside of Horizon Forbidden West, right? Again, I like Horizon, right? Stellar Blade, which right now is exclusive to their console, but I know it's coming to PC eventually, right? They don't have a first-party title that I absolutely have to run out and play anymore. And again, I don't have a problem with anybody saying that The Last of Us 2 is their game of the generation or all time. I don't have anybody problem saying God of War is the greatest series of all time. I don't have anybody saying, again, that's personal favorites. I have a whole list of Xbox first-party titles that I'd rather play. Like a whole entire list, right? So again, if we were all the same, it'd be boring as hell. It's just funny. Again, the question I have for you, Nate Dogg, is yes, you can list off Xbox games that have problems. I was just saying we all been here. We all criticized Redfall, for God's sakes, man. Could care less about fucking Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge was a passion project. What the fuck ever? Give me a break.
Well, that was also like,
yeah, it was
like they had just acquired Ninja Theory, and that was like
they let him finish it. They actually gave him the resources to finish it. Like Sony never would let that game be finished, right? But they gave the devs the opportunity to put it out there.
You can still play it.
Right, you can still play it too. So my point being, and Crackdown, don't get me started on Crackdown. Crackdown's a great game. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but I love Crackdown. Anyways, the point being is, we've all talked about those games for Xbox. No, it's all swept under the rug when it's Sony. It's all swept under the rug from that side. It's never, oh yeah, we do have our problems too. Sony is obviously having some issues this generation. It's not the same Sony.
Yeah.
Very few people on that side are saying that. They're acting as if this is the PlayStation 4 all over again, and that just because the console sales dominate, they act like their gaming is the same as what it was during the PlayStation 4 generation. It's not even fucking close. Okay. It's not. Okay. And in general, they've closed down more studios. And again, nobody talks about it, right? Nobody talks about it. They're still making excuses about Bungie, right? That's the difference. Xbox guys, and yes, there's a set of Xbox guys who are just as bad. Of course there is. I say that all the damn time.
Yeah, that'll never.
But for those of us out here that have been critical of Xbox, we can talk about that shit, and we can say what we feel about that shit, and we have for years. Right? Exactly. But I'm just saying, in general, the Xbox guys, nah. This is all part of Sony's plan, man. It's all for the betterment of us as Sony gamers, and it's all value, no matter what. It's all premium and it's all value all the time.
I think it's about taste for specific kinds of games.
That is absolutely a fact, bro.
Like it's just a certain kind of game that certain kinds of gamers have a preference of, and like the thing that like I would rather play Stalker 2 and Flight Sim.
Yes.
Age of Empires, Starfield, Age of Empires.
I didn't even tell you, man. I hopped into Age of Mythology, by the way, and started that new, that unbelievable addictive. Holy shit, so much fun. Anyways,
I need to dive in. Like Age of Mythology,
yes.
Like all these things. Halo Infinite. Like you could look at it and say, does PlayStation have a game like that from their first party? The Flight Simulator. Do they have something like that from their first party? Do they, you know what I mean? Like you could go down a list of tons of different ones and be like, why isn't PlayStation competing in the RTS space? Why isn't PlayStation competing in the flight sim space? Why isn't PlayStation competing in the shooter space? Right? Like all these different things. And overall, it's like nobody cares because they just make this kind of game that they like, which is the third-person action adventure story-based, guide you on your path kind of game, right? And through amazing quality, great production value, right? Great games. But there's more than those kind of games out there. But they constantly get ignored or downplayed because they're Xbox games and Xbox franchises as not counting or being equal to, right? And you can look at tons of different kinds of games and all the variety that Xbox has this generation. That's what's best about it. That's the thing that I love about it, right? And that's why I prefer to play in this ecosystem, because it's not all those kind of games. I'm not as interested in them, but it's a preference of the kind of games that you like, So like if you want to talk, like I see you talk about quality, like fuck, like there's a
Sony's quality has definitely gone down as far as bugs. Like it took them 2 years to fix GT7. If you play GT7 like I play GT7, you knew about the brake issue. You knew about the twitch loose coming out of corners. You also knew about how, and it still stutters to this day on Daytona. If you're into racing where you have painted cars as opposed to plain body cars, the stuttering is atrocious on more than half the tracks. The fact that they had the suspension tuning so out of whack, and it took them until fairly recently to fix it, because they supposedly fixed it and then broke it when they did that update with the new track. What was it, 2 or 3 months ago? That like GT7 isn't a perfect game by any stretch of the means. If you look at Horizon Forbidden West, the first 2 months that game came out, there was a I forget what it's called, but there was a save bug that affected some people. But the one that I got affected by was the, I guess, explosion trap or whatever, where basically if you hit an enemy with that power up with the wand or whatever that javelin thing is, you basically couldn't move anymore once you made that first contact. So they had to patch that, and that was like, it took them almost 2 months to fix that. You look at Spider-Man 2 with the amount of bugs it had when it came out. You look at the lost progress bug on Returnal when that came out. Yeah, it wasn't first party when it first came out, but they eventually became first party. Like, a lot of their games aren't as bug free as people like to think. And that's not saying that every game from Xbox is bug free, but there are some game-breaking bugs that were in Forbidden West. There were some game-breaking bugs that were in GT7, but nobody decided to talk about it. I was the only one pointing those things out because I actually played 3,000 hours of the game to come across these things. And it's like, I even had to argue with Darkwing or whatever his name is from freaking Digital Foundry, because he's using replays as his source for how the graphics are on it. And I'm like, you can't do that because it's a different count. It's a different digital count based on the replay versus the actual gameplay. And then when he was talking about it stuttering in the rain, that's not the only time it stutters. If you do painted cars as opposed to plain cars, it stutters even worse. So it is what it is, but keep on claiming Sony's perfect, and you'll wind up with no new IPs, much like you have for, was it a couple of years now? I mean, yes, Concord was a new IP, and we all see where that went. So it is what it is.
I mean, it's like certain genres too are going to lend themselves to certain kind of things. Like the third-person action adventure games like that are usually, like PlayStation makes, are usually going to be a higher graphical fidelity and more streamlined kind of experience, right? Where, I mean, look at Hellblade 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, best looking game maybe ever created. So is that quality, or is it not? Because I'm confused about what quality means. Like, what do people say when they say they want quality? Like, yeah, Flight Sim had issues with launch with the whole cache thing. But if you play Flight Sim 2024 on an Xbox Series X or on a PC, and you just look at it and are playing the game, and you don't look around and be like, "Wow, what am I fucking looking at? My eyes are popping out of my head. Is this really actually a game?" Like, I I don't know, man. It's just weird, the perception of quality, and I think it comes down to specific genres again too. And it comes down to like having that movie-like experience, kind of, that they try and push that way, that people kind of like, with the narrative coinciding with the cinematics and the world that they're creating is what they say they do best, and they do. But that's a specific kind of game, right? That's why people would discount a game like Starfield that has a million times more ambition than something like one of those games, and is doing a million different things, but they say, "Oh, it has some bugs, or its graphics aren't the next level, therefore it's not as high of quality." But it's not ever paid attention to the million things that it does that those other games can't do, because it's in a different genre. It's trying to accomplish different things. You could say the same thing about Stalker 2. I play Stalker 2. I'm fucking like, wow, this is amazing. I'm loving my choices I'm able to make, the direction I'm able to go, the feeling of immersion of always having to be concerned about where I'm going because it's my choice on what I do and where I go, and it's not nothing's telling me, hey, here's what you need to do right here. Uh, here, Dad, look at this. Here's how you solve the puzzle. It's not happening, right? Like I make my choices. I live with the consequences. And they're creating a world that makes that possible, right? So that's not the same genre. Like, what is quality in that? Is it in the experience, or is it in just creating a, hey, here you go. We're gonna set you on this path, and we're gonna take you down this guided adventure, and we're gonna make sure everything is super polished within that, and have a great story around it. That's great too. That's a specific kind of game, you know. But we'll see that kind of with Indiana Jones, I think. It'll be in first person, but it's going to be more so that kind of game. Yeah, you're going to be able to explore and do different things and stuff, but we'll see how the critics and how people perceive Indiana Jones' quality, right? It's always an interesting conversation, man. But overall, there's a lot of these things when people say Xbox doesn't have good games or Xbox quality doesn't stand up to PlayStation's or this or that. It's like, well, it depends on what you like. It's personal taste and preference. Because fuck, Age of Empires, that's amazing quality, bro. Amazing. They don't have anything like that on PlayStation right now. But nobody's asking for it because they want those same kind of games over and over again. That's fine. Shout out to the chat. I did miss a super chat earlier as well. It was a great breakdown on GT7. You know, and Forza Motorsport wasn't perfect at launch too, man. But like they've had a lot of updates, and it's doing great as well now. Yeah. Brandon Martin hit us with a $2 super chat. Says the Thing Remastered comes out next week. And then go Birds. You always have to add "Go Birds" to the end of your super chat, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. But oh god, go Birds, I guess. Cowboys won last night. We moved down the draft, so I don't know if it's a win or a loss. But yeah, whatever. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. Yeah, quality, interesting. Thought there. It's something I see all the time too, bro. It's something that's lasted for like, as people not think Gears is great quality. Gears 5 was not great. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. The best GOW Steel Rain says is Gears of War. 100% for me, bro. I prefer Gears of War over God of War personally, but that's personal taste, I guess, as well. I wonder what people are going to say about quality when Fable launches, because I guarantee that fucking game is going to be amazing looking as well. Oh, that Gears came out last gen. Okay, last gen doesn't count. Fine. We're setting timetables. Right on, Nate Dogg. So let's see, where do we go from here? I wanted to kind of let's talk about the games that came out this year for Xbox. Let's talk about the year that Xbox had in 2024 so far. We got one big release left. Who knows what other kind of news could happen, right, lately? Coming up between now and maybe at the Game Awards, we could get some reveals there, which is on the 12th. But Xbox had quite a few releases this year, and so let's take a look back. How did it start this year? Was Hellblade 2 the first big launch for Xbox this year?
Yep, it was.
So there was a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't a gap after Hellblade 2 for me personally. I know some people felt like there was a long wait between Hellblade 2 and other things, but for me, like after Hellblade 2, there was a good amount of stuff to look forward to. But Hellblade 2, that game came out. I don't think it reviewed as as high as I expected. I personally loved it. I thought it was an amazing game. It was best looking game I ever played. I think I was screenshot happy, and that game's absolutely crazy. But overall, where did Hellblade 2 sit for you now? Looking back at it from this is what did it came out in May, so 6 months later. Pong.
I'm sorry. What?
Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through the release.
Okay, so you just want to go through the whole
release.
release? Yeah. So, what do I think about it at this point?
Yeah, 6 months later. Where does it sit?
Again, set the bar in a lot of areas as a game. For a game for me, obviously, I didn't finish it. I was having a hard time. I couldn't even do it with the headphones, right? It placed right where I thought it would, I guess, from that standpoint, especially once we knew the experience was going to be a smaller experience. I think that I've said this before, but Ninja Theory is a boutique dev, which is fine. I think there's a spot for boutique devs, and I mean that with a lot of. I think that they specialize in making a very specific type of experience, and it's the experience that they wanted to give everybody. And I think for people who dismiss that game because it doesn't have the combat like they want, like a God of War combat style, because it's not going to be everybody's cup of a tea, they try to dismiss this the same way they dismiss Flight Sim, the same way to dismiss, RTSs like Age of Empires. They try to dismiss Ninja Theory's games now on the basis that, it's more of a tech demo, and that's bullshit. Again, this is a game through and through. It might not be your style of game, but I think overall, 6 months on, I think it was a very good game for Ninja Theory. I think that more people will get an opportunity to play it when they do put it elsewhere. I firmly believe they are going to put it on other platforms, including PlayStation. And I think then that opinion will also slightly change for a lot of people once it is elsewhere, because we know that is the bullshit that happens in this community as well. But I think it was a great showing for Ninja Theory. Would I like something different from Ninja Theory? Of course I would. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen them do other things. Right. So, and I would love it to be different, but I thought for what it was, for the time I put into it, I was absolutely engrossed for those short periods of time that I could play it through. And I thought it was a great Ninja Theory game and a great follow-up to the first Hellblade. So, yeah.
Right on, man. Did you ever end up playing through Hellblade 2, Buzz?
Yeah, I what do you call it? 1,000 Gamer scored it.
Oh, nice.
I loved it. I guess the way to compare it to like the first one, I don't think the story grabbed people's heartstrings or tugged at their heartstrings as much as the first one. But for me, I like the fact that the combat felt like you were fighting for your life kind of deal, and that there was more variety in it. Although if you did it on dynamic, you didn't get to see as much of that variety. Because I think dynamic made it easier where if you started losing, it was going to make it easier for you to survive. But I want them to add a mode where it's just strictly combat, almost like a roguelike. And no, it's not that I want them to copy God of War. I just want it where it's like fighting for your life, battle after battle kind of thing. Whether that's like part of a nightmare or whatnot, especially like with the creatures that are underground, where it was like, they're not human that you're fighting against, or maybe they were human at one point in time, whatever the case may be. But that game was so much fun in that regard. A visual, spectacle in the sense of there are times where it's hard to tell when you're switching from cutscene to gameplay, and I love how they incorporated that into it, and the fact that you got other things going where. Yeah, I know sometimes when you're crawling between rocks or under stuff, that's supposed to be like a loading screen that they're hiding. But the fact that there's other stuff going on, and sometimes if you stop in the middle of that, you're actually going to get, grabbed at or scratched at or something. There's other, battles that you're sneaking past or stuff along those lines. Like there's just so much to it in comparison to the first one that I loved it. It would have been nice if it was a longer story than the first one. I think it was maybe about the same type of length playthrough wise. It's just that I don't feel that the puzzles were as hidden in comparison to the first one. Like some of the first one's puzzles you could easily like walk past or miss. This one, I think it made it so you couldn't really miss these puzzles. Although some of them could have been frustrating if you couldn't figure them out from like 2 or 3 tries type of deal. But I had fun with it. I hope that they get. And it sounds like I guess they're going to be able to work on a third one, but I'm curious to see what Project Mara is going to be like. If that's the next project that they release, or if they've gone full boat into starting to prototype a Hellblade 3. But for the most part, satisfied with it. I don't think it got a fair shake on review. Dare I say it was Xbox tax? Because I promise you, if this thing comes to PlayStation, you'll see the same turnaround you did for Hi-Fi Rush, where you had a couple of knuckleheaded reviewers say, I played it on PC and Xbox, and it didn't just didn't jive with me, but something about it on my PlayStation. And it's like, oh, is it the DualSense? Oh, or because the music didn't change, the movement didn't change. Is it the shadows that Digital Foundry said look better? Is that really what did it for you? But right. I don't know. I think that is one that eventually goes over there, and then you'll see how people change their sentiment about it.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Like when Hi-Fi Rush, like they liked the music all of a sudden, but they hated it when it was on Xbox. Yeah, I remember that. So what was next after that? It was Age of Mythology Retold, I believe. Well, actually for full release, but if we actually go into it, there was also Vessel of Hatred, which Pong talked about earlier in the show, and also Shattered Space, right? Shattered Space got a lot of I do think Shattered Space has like performance issues on console. Like from what I've seen from Kate playing it on the Xbox, which she doesn't notice, she doesn't even care. Like she just plays the game. I'm like, what is that running on? What mode do you have that on? Because I'm noticing like frame rate hitches and stuff like that, right? Granted, that TV doesn't have VRR as well, but the overall like Shattered Space was shat on quite a bit. But mainly from people that said it took them 3 to 5 hours and they were done with it and they didn't like it. But like that's the kind of thing with Shattered Space for me is like there's so much there to do and new content that it's like just so expansive that I don't know how you can even just judge it based on like playing through just the main story thing for 3 hours or 5 or whatever. And it's just weird. It's kind of like how the reviews went for Starfield when it launched. It's like people forgot how to play these kind of games or something. It's the same thing's going on with Stalker 2 now as well. With some of that same kind of mentality, people are like wanting these games to be like a carry you through the story kind of experience, right? Instead of these big open do whatever kind of games. So when these games get reviewed that way, it's always very interesting to me how that is, But overall, Shattered Space hit for me. I think it's amazing, beautiful. I've been playing it mainly on PC. Yes, there's side quests as well in Shattered Space, Jax. I remember some of the reviews saying there's no new companions as well, but there are. Like there's just like it was really interesting seeing the feedback at launch for that, but it doesn't really fit with what the game is. So I know you haven't even touched it yet, Pong.
No, sir, I have not. Crazy.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy.
it is super crazy.
Just like I haven't touched Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, Liberty City either. Which again I gotta go back to. Both of those are just such huge.
It's expansive.
And I gotta be in the right. It's gonna take up my life. But yeah. Anyways, as far as Shattered Space goes, again, knew what it was gonna be. Knew that because of Starfield's mixed reception, it wasn't gonna be for everybody. And again, that's cool. Again,
more Starfield.
It's more Starfield. So for the people who love it, that's what it's going to be. And again, whether or not Starfield, ever makes the same kind of turn that Cyberpunk did, I don't think really matters at this point. It's 15 million. It's probably going to go to PlayStation as well at some point. It'll garner another audience over there. Suddenly people who chat all over it will be playing it, and there'll be a portion of them that love it the way that we loved it as well. It's just, this is the way it rolls. But I think that Shattered Space definitely, again, continued the trend of Xbox studios continue to support their games, and continue to update, because it wasn't just the expansion, which we knew they were going to do. They were going to do multiple expansions, but also they added the patches. They brought in the land vehicles. They did all of that kind of stuff. They've opened up the modding even more so to consoles now, expanding the console to 100 gigs of mods. They've done so many things, and they just actually did another patch in which a lot of the mods are now available for achievement as well. So again, the certified mods will be available to have achievements still work. So again, this continues the trend that we've seen from all the studios underneath Xbox's umbrella that have these big expansive games, that they're going to continue to support them. And Bethesda is no different. They always have done that. But again, Starfield is getting extra special treatment. They brought stuff in that, the community's talked about, and they're going to continue to do it. Again, this is one of Todd's babies now. It's a 3-headed monster. Some people want it to disappear and never be remembered, but this is going to be a part of Bethesda proper. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah. Right on. Yep. Did you have a chance to play Shattered Space?
Yeah. I'm only about, I want to say I think 10 to 12 hours in. Like, I've done some of the side missions.
You can be more than 3 hours? How?
Yeah. Well, I don't speed run games. Even the only game I could say I speed ran, because when people were telling me it was 8 hours and I had 60% of it beat in 2 hours, I couldn't understand what they were talking about, and that was with Ratchet and Clank. But I try not to speed run games. It was just a matter of with Ratchet and Clank, I knew where all the golden nuggets were, because they followed a path of oh, this is a different path than where the main story is. So let me go down here, and oh yeah, there's a golden nugget or a golden bolt or something. But with Starfield, I always try to get 2 or 3 side quests done at one sitting, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So if I'm helping the guy that's arguing with his brother while I'm getting some sort of reading in an area that they tell me to go, and it's all in the same vicinity, I'll get two for one at that point, as far as 2 quests knocked out. But it's a lot of times in the process of doing that, you encounter some sort of, outer, not outer space, but some sort of outer realm insect that sneaks up behind you and stabs you in the back or something,
right?
Something weird. So it's there's just so much stuff going on, and the way I was playing it, I knew I wasn't going to get it done in time for some of the other stuff that I wanted to hop back and forth to, because I get the horror vibes of it, but whenever I think horror and space, I don't think Deep Space. I think of or Dead Space. I think of Prey. So I went and played that, and then also hopped on Outer Worlds for a bit. But what I've played so far of Shattered Space, I love, but it's going to be that game that after I finish probably Stalker 2, that's what I'll go back to it, just because it is that much of a time sink type of game. And I have too many of those now. I've finally bumped out Division 2, even though I played it for the 5 XP this weekend, or early this morning or something. But I've had to bump out Division 2 so I can play Forza Horizon 5 and still collect the cars. And now Stalker 2 is going to be that game that until I'm probably 80 hours in, I won't be, completely finished with it, kind of thing. But yeah, Starfield, and the fact that they're going to do, I wouldn't say necessarily annual expansions or upgrades, but they've done a few patches or updates in between, the Shattered Space DLC, and they'll continue to do that. And
they also launched mod support this year for Starfield on console. So
yeah, they got the hover car thing now, and they got a couple other mods that people are working on. I think there's actually an exosuit or something, or a mech suit that they have now as one of the mods. I don't know if that one is achievement friendly or not, but Like there's just so much that they can do. And especially after playing Prey, it's like I really want them to have not necessarily the same space station, but something similar where you come across that and you got mimic like aliens there, or who knows, there's probably a modder out there making that as we speak kind of thing.
Right.
But there's just so much potential in that game. And I really, really want them to make a co-op version. Even if they have to section off the PvP from the PvPvE or PvE type stuff, like don't make it just like Sea of Thieves where you always have to. Well, now Sea of Thieves does have the PvE only mode, but I don't want to get griefed after building a kick-ass starship and then having a fleet of unfriendlies blow up my starship, and then when I finally get back to base and then blow it up again, kind of thing. But I am looking forward to like a co-op experience in that game, but there's just so much into it now, and I haven't come across the new companions, but I think I know which ones can wind up being companions just from the way the story is setting out on the people that you help and stuff like that. But I don't get why some people speed run. It's like, oh, I want to be the first to do a review on this. I finished it in 3 hours and there's nothing new to see here. Like, and then I watched somebody clip, I guess, Dreamcast guy, and it's like he was saying, oh, they got some new stuff where you can really play like the what do they call it in Mass Effect, where you can be the asshole. Apparently, I guess he hasn't played
Renegade.
Starfield. Yeah, Renegade. Like, I guess he didn't play Starfield before Shattered Space because you could always do that from get-go. Like, I have a playthrough where it's shoot everybody in the face. If they ask me too many questions, they get shot in the face. It's broken Mars for me right now, but on that playthrough. But yeah, it's just funny to me that either people don't want to give a game a chance because it's cool to hate on it for whatever reason, or they just parrot what other people say without actually picking up the controller. And I've seen too much of it. That's why I'm not on social media as much, just for the fact that it's like I could spend more time instead of doom scrolling. I can just play the game. So it is what it is.
I love Shattered Space. I mean, like you can get like, I mean, I just love the planet. First off,
Yeah.
like it's just gorgeous, bro. I was just looking through my pictures and stuff.
Wait, is that like an N7 spacesuit mod?
No, that is the
the Starborn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I even get rid of that now. Anyway. Yeah, it's like overall it's just gorgeous, bro. Like I'm loving it. And the thing is about Shattered Space is it's something that'll always be part of the world that I'll keep living in for every time I play Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not something you just like, hey, I play through this DLC, I'm done, and just move on. It's like always like I don't know. It's additive to this expansive world, right? But it hits differently for me when they do DLCs like this. Like when Oblivion had the what was it, the Golden Isle? Was that what it was? Or forget what it was called. The big first Oblivion DLC that was crazy. It was just added this other big expansive world to the game. And that's the way I look at the expansions for something like Starfield. But we also got Vessel of Hatred. Soon after that, Vessel of Hatred was a absolutely awesome expansion for me so far, although I haven't finished the whole story like Pong has, so I can't really judge it for that. But just overall, it's more Diablo, right? And I think I had hit like level 50, and there's just all these other games coming out that I just ended up playing. But overall, Vessel of Hatred was another big one to release this year. For expansions. There's also like if we really wanted to get into expansions or add-on content, we could be here for 3 hours with Xbox this year, right? I mean, you talk about like all the franchises and all the add-on extra content for all the things that they have. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, ESO had huge things. Fallout 76 had huge things. Sea of Thieves content. You had Halo Infinite doing a million things this year.
State of Decay 3,
State
which
of Decay,
just wrapped their stuff up.
Yeah, they just had another big thing. Like there's just ongoing, all these things just keep evolving and expanding. That's another thing that I love about Xbox is a lot of the games actually live on and continue to add stuff for constantly and give you a reason to want to go back to them. But after that was two games that don't get counted as releases this year. For many people in the Xbox catalog, because for everybody, for a lot of people, it was like Hellblade 2 came out, and then we didn't have anything till Call of Duty Black Ops 6. But for people like us, well, Age of Mythology Retold hit pretty damn hard. That was a really good game. It is a really good game, and it's not just a remake or whatever. Like, this is a fully remade game. And it's also launching on console for the first time as well. But that's one that I think gets overlooked a lot when people look back at 2024. And they just, like you said, Pong, they just added awesome new content.
They sure did. They sure did. The whole new gameplay mode that they added, they continue to update it too as well. So it's playing better than it even did at launch. But the new gameplay mode that they added, where it's kind of like a trials run, but it's kind of got rogue. It doesn't. I shouldn't say roguelike, but like as you can earn. Like I was playing it today, and you can play it co-op or you can play it single solo. And basically it just runs you through it's got a whole story attached to it, and it's running you through different scenarios, but it winds up being skirmishes, but it's got a story to it. But while you beat each level, you gain skills that you can add. You can have 3 active skills at a time for each battle. And then you can pick and choose which ones you want to have. So you can have like, like your soldiers do more damage, right? Or you can have townspeople cost less, right, to produce, right? But you can have up to 3 skills, and you earn more as you progress through. And I gotta tell you, man, I'm playing on hard, which there's a bunch of levels above it. I'm not playing on normal because again, I play so many RTSs that I play on hard, and I was kind of ripping through, and then I got to this 4th level. And I think I'm on my 2nd restart of this 4th level because it's a full skirmish. It's 2-on-2 skirmish, but my AI partner is dumb as shit in this one. Like it's on a lower level AI intelligence, so that thing's getting steamrolled. So it's 2 against 1 most of the time, and they are coming fast. Like the first couple skirmishes, like I said, I was fine. I rock and rolled them. But man, now it's really challenging. But I love the setup. And then there's branching paths in the story as well. But like you said, Matt, the bigger part of this piece is that Age of Mythology is like the little brother to the rest of the Age family, because the first Age of Mythology didn't hit the way they explained it to. But for them to bring this back and then treating it the way they are, and it's getting a ton of love, and the community's really responded well to it. And now they're doing these fun expansions, which aren't necessarily a part of the other ages. Like this is totally different because Age of Mythology is a different type of game. I mean, it's the same, but it's different because you're having a good time in mythology world. So the fact that they're adding to it like this and coming up with new ideas that they really haven't done in the other ages shows, again, to your point, how much effort that Xbox, the studios underneath Xbox, are putting into these ongoing games that they have. And they have so many of these franchises. Obviously, they required a ton through acquisitions as well. But the fact that they continuously do this, and we've got situations like Fallout 76 now being played by over 21 million players when people thought that was dead, like it buried. And there was even conversations internally, Phil asking if it was worth it to keep it going, right? Like here it is, 21 million. Obviously the show coming out at the right time pumped up all those games for Fallout, but it still shows the work that's been done on Fallout 76. It now has a thriving community. It's not just the hardcore Fallout 76 fans anymore. They now have a thriving community of content creators and new people jumping in that are playing that game on a regular basis. And obviously we already know the success of ESO, et cetera. So I just think overall, like Age of Mythology, like you said, just goes to show what they can do. Even though you have Age 2 Definitive Edition, even though you have Age 4, and now you got Age of Mythology, they're supporting all 3 of those still. Like it's crazy, and it's great. And Age of Mythology is a big win this year. Like you said, it's going to be one of my favorite games of the year. So easy, it's fun.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to have all this content so soon, man. It kind of makes me feel like I'm missing out right now because I'm playing other stuff, but I'm really enjoying what I'm playing. So it is what it is, right?
Well, you have Aura too on top of it, which
that was next.
More time than I have. Yeah,
Aura was like my surprise of the year.
Yeah,
right. I didn't expect to love Aura History Untold as much as I did. And that game melted hours like nothing. Like I would sit there and play. It's like, okay, I'm sitting here. It's 4 o'clock. Um, then I'll get a text on my phone. Kate's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "It's 8 o'clock. What? 4 hours just went by. I feel like I've been playing for 30 minutes." Like Ara has that, dude. I did a stream with Ara. I was expecting to stream for like an hour or two. It's like 5 hours long. It just hooks you, bro. It's just, I don't know what it is about that game, but it's very special. For me at least, and I think it's one that it's going to keep building upon itself as well, right? So, um, then after that, we had Call of Duty, Black Ops 6.
Mhm.
Does that count for quality now because it's for Xbox?
It started long ago before Xbox got them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
You know,
Curious. But anyway, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out and like destroyed records for Call of Duty and engagement and sales and everything. It seems like it's going to be a big Call of Duty for a long time. And this will be one that I think people always go back to and be like, "Oh yeah, like Black Ops 6, like that set the bar or something." It was one of those Call of Duties, you know what I mean? So that's been awesome to play this year. Put in some good time with that. I still actually haven't finished the campaign. I need to go back to the campaign. I just kind of got hooked on the multiplayer, and those other games came out, so I got distracted. Then we got let's see, what was next? Flight Sim?
Yeah.
So yeah, Flight Sim came out. Horrible launch day. I would say horrible launch day, and then follow-up day kind of for people in parts of the world, but they got their issues, it seems like, resolved after a couple days in, with the cloud streaming tech that they were using that was causing the caches to be saturated, is what their reasoning was for that. But man, mind blown with that game. I want Pong to play it, but he hasn't touched it yet, I don't think.
I played the opening. Yeah.
That's right. You played the beginning.
I played the opening. Did the first little mission. Started my career with the first mission.
That's right. You were commenting on the character creator.
Yeah, the character creator,
Yeah,
and then my planes were missing like complete landing gear. Like it was taking forever for the assets to load in. That was my one thing that I did have in my playthrough. It was horrible.
You were playing on Xbox?
Yeah, I was playing on Xbox. Yeah.
Was that on launch day?
Yes. No, it was the following day because I couldn't get on launch day.
Okay.
Remember, I came home and I was disappointed. So no, I have not fired. I have not fired it up since. No, but it's still.
I haven't seen any of the whole loading in things or anything that people have been talking about. But I don't know if it's like a internet thing or what, because of what they're using with the cloud stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I streamed it the other day. And I was just I was in South America, right? And I was in Colombia, and I was like going over the cartel paths. I think I was just kidding. I don't know what they were, but I was going from one airport to another. And I just did a straight hour flight, as the sun was setting, which it would be in real time, discovering landmarks and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is gorgeous, man. It's just so much fun. I actually managed to land without crashing, and even went and parked the plane where it was supposed to be, turned off the engine and stuff. It's just cool. You don't get that experience anywhere else, man. It's amazing. Buzzy, have you spent time with Flight Sim yet?
Other than installing it on both my Xbox and my PC, I have not. One thing I will say though, I'm just amazed that it doesn't take up as much space as the first one did. Like on my PC, the first one was like 500 gigs because I had a drive specifically set to have all of my tri-state area at like full fidelity. And yeah, I would just like bunny hop from like the local airport near my house to ones all around that I'm familiar with and stuff. But I've yet to fire up the new one.
Right on. Yeah, I think you'll like it, man. I think it's better. I think it's an improvement over the first one. I think it runs smoother. I think something about the functionality of it just seems a little bit more like simpler to control and handle with the mechanics. Maybe it's the UI interface and stuff like that, but I think they just did a better job with it overall. I know that may be contrary to what some people think because of the at launch, but I think a lot of it's internet based, which is like cloud gaming and like stuff with this future technology. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with this. Like, hey, we're using cloud for development or cloud assets. You know, when you have a game this much pouring in data from the cloud, I think it's actually kind of like adding detail to the world and all this other kind of stuff. So if it's not jiving with your internet, I think it's going to be not a great experience,
Yeah.
right? Which is a shame. But
I kind of want them to use this tech for a racing game at some point, but
open world racing game, like,
we'll see how that goes. Like maybe like a cannonball kind of across America. You know, you start in Jersey and in California kind of thing. And you can pick any of the roads and, you know, have real speed trap data uploaded to it or something.
Think about 4X strategy or RTS with this map. The overworld.
Oh my god.
Like on the actual planet. Like, think about that. That would be pretty freaking awesome.
Be awesome.
There's so much they can do. Like just the fact that flight sim exists and you can actually like go on the roads everywhere in the world. Like it's just nuts to me still. And then this isn't first party, but like still with how synonymous this game has been with Xbox, like Stalker 2, the launch of that, I think it was a big deal this year on Xbox. I got some screenshots I was looking through while y'all were talking as well. And I think it's a beautiful game. I've seen people complain about the graphics, but I don't know, man. Like, I think it looks good.
Upload some video because I like with any open world game, I want to explore, even though it doesn't tell me to go there. And I've died a few times going through areas I probably shouldn't. But now I have better radiation protection because of the artifacts I have on. But yeah, it's beautiful in the sense that it matches what you would expect the world to look like, where a building like that, what we're looking at now, where it's overrun by, you know, dust and branches and trash blown in or whatever, or it looks like it has a hole in the wall from where a tank shot the building kind of thing, and paint's peeling and stuff. So yeah, I just like the aesthetic overall, inside and out. The dead trees, live trees, trees blown in the wind, the storm when you see the emission coming.
It's imperfectly perfect.
Yeah.
And I say that because yes, could it be better? Yes. Have we seen better Unreal Engine 5 games? Of course we have. We've seen more beautiful games. But it fits in a really strange sense. It fits the atmosphere the game's going for, right? Because everything about the zone is off. Everything about the zone is affected by the radiation. Everything has mutated or transformed, or even the people living in it, their ideology and their mentality is warped because of the zone, right? And because of what they're living through and going through. And so the graphics not being like the most best top level graphics we've ever seen, it just feels right within the game. And like I said, I think a lot has to do with the color palette. A lot just has to do with that blend of everything that we see in the game all together. There's some games that do that. How many times have we had beautiful games that are soulless that people complain about, right? Sure, in a perfect world, we love the most beautiful games and the best gameplay all together in one package? Of course. But there are certain games that transcend any one of those features, right? Whether it's gameplay or whether it's graphics or whatever. There's just certain games, and it's hard to put my finger on. It's hard to explain to people because not everybody's going to see it. Again, the eyes in the beholder, and there's certainly, again, critiques for this game that could be made, and there's certainly going to be people who don't like it. But for those games that do hit for us as an audience, or certain people, myself or whoever, there's just something about that mixture, that recipe that Dev Studios put together, where the imperfections just add to the game. And I think that's what we've seen, because those imperfections were in the original Stalker as well. The original Stalker was not a perfect, polished game back in the day on PC. But it just kind of fits with the weirdness of the zone. It just works, right? And so I just think it is it's special, man. It's special, and I just really love how it all puts together. And those storms are something to see, man. When those storms kick up and it starts with blowing and there's all the debris, and then all of a sudden those lightning strikes start happening. Bro, when one of those lightning strikes are close to you, holy shit. I jumped at one because it hit a tree right in front of me. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was somebody that posted a video on X too. He was sitting, chilling in a camp with 2 other stalkers, and the stalker next to him got obliterated by a lightning strike while they were just sitting there. Like, he got obliterated and died because the dude posted on X and said, "Fuck this stalker right here." You know, it's like God chose that guy to die. It was like perfect, but that's the randomness. And now Mav's got, I have yet to have one of these red storms yet, but I've been seeing all these videos.
The emissions.
They're crazy. Yeah. So I can't wait to see one of those live. I have not had one turn into that
and
yet.
I spent like 5 minutes walking up this crazy tower. See that tower off on the left there?
Yep.
I was walking up that tower. I got to the very top, all these like ladders, and then the fucking this red storm started happening. I was like, shit, I gotta go. So like you got a short amount of time to run for cover, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I learned the hard way you will die in this thing. I didn't know what
red
it
line
was
goes
at
real
first.
quick.
I was like, oh, what's going on? Why am I dying? Oh, why is it red? What's happening? You know,
it's taking all your health. That's why it's red.
It was really cool atmosphere though. But yeah, it was fucking wild, man. And then like the people inside during it, they're reacting to it. They're like, "Oh my god, this is freaking scary." I hate this. You know?
I had a guy tell me to get out. Like one of them, where you go underground, he's like, "This place is full," and the other guy had to argue with him. Yeah, he was like, "Shut up." Whatever, I don't know who it was, some random dude. He's like, "This place is full, get out of here." And the other guys, "We let everybody in, don't worry about it, just we got enough room," or something. I'm like, I was about to shoot him. I'm like, I think I'm gonna stay here because I'm not losing my health standing outside.
Right. Well, yeah, no.
Yeah, this guy is cool. Like the voice actor that played this guy in the English, like did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, anybody starting, I see a couple people in chat starting to Sea Lord or whatever else. Again, I would personally, if you don't have a problem with subtitles, if you play JRPGs and you obviously use the Japanese voiceovers with subtitles, I would highly recommend using the Ukrainian voice overs, because it is damn impressive. Again, I've heard some of the English stuff, and there's some of the English stuff that's really good. Like Mav has said, there's some that's not as good, right? Obviously, because again, they had to go find actors when the war started. They had to redo entire pieces of acting with new people, and they had to find whoever was available to do English acting. Like, it's not like they were like able to have a casting call with a bunch of English actors and pick the best of the best. So if you can do subtitles, playing this game, because it is set actually over there, right? Because it is actually in that area, it just fits so well. And the actors are really well done in the Ukrainian as far as emotion goes. Again, I don't understand Ukrainian, but as far as the emotion they come across, they're all really excellent. I've loved it. So it's really cool.
Yeah, like you can tell there's like at the end of the road, I don't know if you can see, but there's actually an anomaly.
Yeah.
I just realized that in this screen.
Yeah.
I had
it's very faint, but yes. If you know what you're looking for, that's the whole thing. And Nate, that's probably the way to put it. The Ukrainian language gives it a grittier feel to it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And some of the audio things that people were saying that they've experienced, the only time I've ever had it where it goes from like radio call to, or like somebody talking in a mask to like it being clear, is if I wind up being rude and look at my PDA in the middle of the conversation or something, and then it seems like it changes. But other than that, everything seems to stay in character. As far as if they're speaking from a gas mask, you'll be able to hear it from like a gas mask. If they're on a radio, they'll stay on the radio. Just don't open up the menu in the middle of the conversation, and they won't break that immersion that I guess a few of the reviewers had. But I just love the game. Like it's a different type of looter shooter. It's different than Metro, and
Yes.
I like how it's different. I like how there's even Easter eggs for Call of Duty in there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the sniper tower that everybody's
Mhm.
posted, that was dope as hell, man. Yeah, Phantom, that's, it's ugly beauty. It's an ugly, gritty beauty. Yeah, it is. It's like I said, it just fits the whole narrative of where you are at. Like, it's a radioactive wasteland. Like, it's a
Yeah.
dystopian future set in a specific area because of a nuclear disaster. Like, it's nuts. And then you got these weird anomalies and sci-fi stuff going on, and it just fits the whole game. It really does. The style that they went with, the artistic style that they went with, just does fit it. It's crazy. And the lightning looks better live than even the screenshots. Like the way that the electricity in this game, like we saw those in the trailers, right? You guys remember we saw that big, huge electrical grid. That was one of the shots in the early trailers where everybody was like, holy shit, this is like on another level. The lightning storms are like that. Like the lightning going across the sky and striking, whether it's close or in the distance, is on another level. It is super freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I've jumped also a couple of times where it strikes close by, like, and just as you're either running or walking or whatever you're doing in the forest, like, it's not even really a forest, but like having trees somewhere nearby, and the lightning hits one of those things, it just lights up that area, and then you can see like the little red sparks and whatnot after the fact. So it's like they done a good job, I think, as far as just the overall aesthetic of the game. But yeah, there are some definite weird areas that I think I went to a power plant that caught fire, and there's a weird anomaly there. I'll just say that. So if you keep traveling north, you'll find it. Just don't get caught in it because it will cook you. So that's all.
Yeah, I saw a Buzz commented on the road shot, the road screenshot. Yeah, I actually made that my wallpaper just a little while ago on my PC because it's like I want to walk down that fucking road, like see where it goes. Amazing game. I'm loving it. It's approaching game of the year category type levels for me. I'm gonna have a hard time after this. Like obviously Indiana Jones still coming out. Um, but when it comes down to the end of the year, actually sitting back and determining what was my game of the year, because there's a lot of great games. Um, we still got Indiana Jones coming around the corner as well.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be that's gonna be a big one, and I think that will kind of put a cork on the year for Xbox as far as like big releases, obviously. But as well, besides that, I mean, you also had all these Game Pass day and date games, right? Like Kunitsigami, Path of the Goddess was one. You had more JRPGs coming to Xbox and that used to skip before. Like Visions of Mana hit Xbox. We just had Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake come out. You had the Final Fantasy, a lot of Final Fantasy stuff ended up finally hitting on Xbox. You had the other Visions games ended up coming, more Persona releases, like Persona 5 Tactica hit. That was another Game Pass day and date game hit this year. Um, just overall, man, it's been pretty pretty damn good year. Variety up game updates, releases, added functionality. Um, for gamers, Prince Green with Flintlock. Yeah, that was another one this year as well. I need a list of like day and date Game Pass releases for like the year, and I don't know where to find that. But I'm trying to remember everything, and like I always miss stuff. You know,
I think
Metal
I
Slug
had
Tactics
something
was one.
somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, but there was a lot, man. That just we played because it was there, and absolutely awesome. But overall, I'd say Xbox had a pretty good year so far. Pong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't like the start of the year. We talked about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was way too big of a gap again. But
Before
they
Hellblade.
finished out strong. Yeah, before Hellblade. We knew the second half of the year would finish strong. I still wish they would have launched Avowed. I
Yep.
still, I wanted that bad. But again, the way things have played out for me as a gamer, hell yeah, of course. I got games galore, first of all, through, like you said, Game Pass, plus just the great games that I've been able to buy due to Game Pass. But then you throw in this first party stuff, which is a whole laundry list of games. Age, right? Stalker, right? Well, Stalker's not first party, but whatever. Exclusive. Indiana Jones, right? All right up my alley. And of course, I enjoyed obviously Hellblade 2 when it did launch. You guys, I put up so many freaking pictures from photo mode in that damn game. Really enjoyed myself there. And obviously Flight Sim, I have it and I played that initial mission. I just haven't had time because I'm playing all this other stuff, but I want to play some Flight Sim as well. But obviously then you throw on top of it the cherry on top, Call of Duty being in Game Pass. I didn't have to buy it again this year. That is a beautiful thing. And have it come out as one of, like you said, Bav, give you all the credit in the world for saying this. Yeah, it's just Call of Duty. People say that. It's just Call of Duty. But the way that Black Ops 6 has hit and felt this year, and again, that's not just my sentiment, that's a bigger majority than I've seen in a long time of people's sentiment, just adds a cherry on top of this year, right? And again, it is first party. Whether you like it or not, yeah, it's everywhere. It's multi-plat, but I didn't have to buy it this year. I got it in Game Pass. So it's freaking awesome. Like that is the beauty. That is why I'm here. That's why I love this ecosystem. The value is beyond anything else. So yeah, I got a huge list of great games, and Diablo continued again to be great. Over 500 hours. Yes, I haven't uninstalled it. I'm planning going full bore Path of Exile 2, but I will never have a problem with what I got out of Diablo. And I bought that Ultimate Edition day one because I bought it before Game Pass. It came in the Game Pass. That experience, and that's a first party title now, whether you like it or not as well, gave me exactly what I wanted for 500 hours. I don't play games I don't like for 500 hours. So I had a blast with Diablo, and I probably will go back to it eventually, but Path of Exile 2 is what I love. But again, another great game this year that they expanded on. And yeah, no, man, love this year. It's been a great year, and I can't wait to play Shattered Space. Can't wait to get back into Starfield again. That's just another addition to one of their games this year. It is nuts. The updates with everything you think about that we got. Like you said, Mav, if you could ever find a list of day and date games for Game Pass, throw that on top of it. It's been a nuts year for Xbox, and next year it's going to start out nuts. And it's going to be the entire year. Next year, I think, is going to be a complete year from beginning to end for Xbox. So the only thing that's going to be a black hole is if Grand Theft Auto does launch and they move things out of the way. But other than that, I think they're going to have a massive, and there's hints. Jez is hinting again that there's more next year that we don't know about.
Yeah, there's going to be
Clockwork Revolution, I think, is next year. If Clockwork Revolution hits on top of everything else that we have announced next year, holy shit, man. I'm saying next year is going to surpass this year. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Doom the Dark Ages, man. I was watching some the trailers from the Summer Game Show the other day because I was starting to think about doing a different intro thing or whatever. But I was looking at it and it's like, wow, like the game's so cool, man. It has so many cool visuals already just from that trailer. I can't wait for that. And Avowed, South of Midnight, like you said. Then we have Fable, which there's two like Xbox IPs that I've wanted to return, and Fable and Perfect Dark were two. Like there's several others as well, but like those were two, and those were two of the announcements that we had back in 2019 or was it 2020, whatever the one where they had the 5 Xbox games or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're actually like hoping like it doesn't get delayed or anything like that. But Fable next year is big for me. Absolutely fucking big for me. And I can't wait for it. That was one of my favorite franchises. I will be equally as excited when Perfect Dark comes out just because I like the genre. I like the style of that like spy action, but like with gadgets and all that kind of stuff. I just think it's awesome. So I can't wait for that too, but we'll probably have to wait another couple years for that one at least. But yeah, Fable, if we get Clockwork Revolution 2, Pong, like you said, or like let's say like Contraband ends up hitting. We
Yeah.
find out more about what that game is, or like Everwild could end up showing up out of the blue again,
Good.
or like there's so many possibilities for 2025. But it's already stacked. What we know, it's crazy.
I'm just on top of that. I'm hoping we get the handheld. I know they said it's further away than
Phil
or
said
several
few
years,
years.
but
Yeah,
I'm hoping that was just to kind of throw things off the trail more so than an actual like stamped, like written in ink type of date type of thing. But yeah, there's just so much to look forward to. I'm really hoping Forza Horizon 6 is in Japan or somewhere similar. But I think Japan would be like a great way to display what the capability of this next gen console can do. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 already looks fantastic as is, and that was cross gen. So it'd be awesome to see what this, with one that's just solely on this hardware would look like.
Well, I can't wait, man. I'm curious. Like there was the reports like Forza Horizon 5 was coming to PlayStation, but it was delayed. That was interesting, but I don't know 100% if I believe that one or not, just because of the timing. Like I don't know if it makes sense. Like with maybe being a year or two away from another Forza Horizon game, Why would you put Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation now when you could end up having another one that you could just do day and date across
Well,
the board? You know, and also licensing of the cars.
right.
You know, like how long does that last? Because this game's been out for 3 years now. So would they like relicense everything? I don't know how that works unless they figured out the
I think
solution. You know, to
I
license.
think Horizon 4 gets delisted here real quick. I
Yeah,
know it was pulled from some stores prior, but it's supposedly completely delisted in 2 months, I think. And then you would expect that Horizon 5 is 1 to 2 years after that. So if it goes over the PlayStation for 2 years, that just seems kind of weird, especially when you're
yeah,
probably going to release 6, which I wouldn't be a fan of 6 going straight over there, but to be honest, I don't care either as long as I get to play it on my console or my PC. But you know, the console warrior in me would be like, don't put it over there just yet. Give him a taste of the old stuff first beforehand. But yeah, I assumed it would be a worthwhile thing. They already got 40 million players between Xbox and PC. Let's see if you can get another 10 mil, get it up to 50 mil, and be one of the few arcade racers to ever see that kind of number, kind of thing.
right. And it's just like the longer it goes, before they put it out, the less it makes sense to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like unless the licensing now, because we talked about this a long time ago about in the Game Pass world and like in the world where like these games are going to last longer and be bigger and be on multiple things, like how are they going to work out the licensing with cars and stuff? Because when we talk about Forza Motorsport as a platform, right? And like it was gonna be a game that they kind of like have last through the generation. Do they do licensing differently at that point? Then no longer do you delist stuff, right? So maybe that's part of it. And if that is, and then it makes more sense. I think it'd be great for the game. I would welcome PlayStation players to play it. Absolutely, just more players playing Forza Horizon. But it's just weird with the timing if the licensing has been the same way. Because like, would you go and like, what's the extra cost to relicense everything to extend everything? Like, I don't know how it works in that world. But I wouldn't think you'd want to put a game on the platform for the first time that could be delisted in like 3 years, right, or 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it happens, but uh, if I
It
were them,
wouldn't.
I would just at that point wait for Forza Horizon 6 to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think it would make the greatest impression with the 2 to 3 year delisting aspect, but
I mean,
then
obviously, the
that would,
players that buy it will still get access to it,
yeah.
and it can keep playing it, right? So it's not like shut down the servers or anything. But
No, it would just be a matter of you got 2 years to buy this, and that's it. and then after that, it's your own. You own the game. You play it. You can continue to play it. You just can't buy any of the DLC you didn't buy within that 2-year window, or whatever expansions if you didn't buy them all at once. So, I mean, unless they package it as like the complete edition, and the only one they sell is with everything in it, then that would probably make sense at that point. So that way there's nothing that they would have missed as far as DLC or something.
Guess we'll find out.
Mhm.
I mean, I think Gran Turismo is 7's not gonna be delisted on PlayStation. So obviously there's a different way of doing it than Xbox has with the Forza games in the past. So ultimately, we'll see. We'll see if maybe they just did the licensing differently this time. Hopefully, for the PlayStation players that have been winning an amazing arcade racer, hopefully it happens for them. But I don't care either way. Anyway, this has been a fun show, everybody. I hope you all had a good one, and we're gonna get out of here. Fuzzy Belvedere, where can everybody find your rambles and rants, sir?
Well, as always, greatly appreciate being on here with you guys on Fridays. Love doing this with you, Mav and Pong, and shout out to Jasper. Hopefully we can get this satellite thing figured out before the aliens attack, kind of deal. No, but in all seriousness, this was awesome. Just interacting with everybody in the chat, even if we don't agree on which games are better. It's all in good fun. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, everywhere but Facebook, because I don't fuck with Facebook. Excuse me. But other than that, Shop Podcast tomorrow, Pong, me, and PTK. And I think we got a couple of guests. I didn't. I've been off social media for a while, but we'll be kicking it tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see everybody there as well. And then Pixelated Echoes Sunday, 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. on Sunday. Just me and 3-Bit. Do a search for Pixelated Echoes on YouTube to find us. And then right back here for FSP. Well, actually, Xbox Lunch Break Special, 12 noon with Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick on Monday afternoon. And then Monday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for FSP. Hope to see everybody in the chat there on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Right on, Fuzz. Appreciate you, bro, as always. And the one and only Pong Soul. What about you, sir?
Good to be back here. Great Friday night, gentlemen. Of course, Mev, because we didn't get a show last night because of Thanksgiving. So it always feels weird when I got these days off too at work. Like I feel like this is like a Sunday night or a Saturday night. It's like really odd to me that this is only Friday night. But great to be here. Too bad that Jasper couldn't hang around. I had some more questions about aliens for him, but that's okay. I'll save him. He obviously maybe had to go do something. He was just acting like his internet was going out, but he actually had to go track some more alien drones that are supposedly out there. Anyways, everybody in the chat, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. All the conversations, whether we agree or disagree or anything in between, you're all welcome as long as we keep it cordial. And that's the best part about our communities that we build here through the years, is that's exactly what happens. And I love you all, and nothing but respect for coming out and supporting this show and all of our shows, because a lot of the same familiar faces are everywhere. So again, great to have you all here. Hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving, if that is something that you celebrate, if you're in the U.S. Otherwise, wherever you're at, I hope you've had a great week, and I hope you've had an awesome start to your weekend already. You guys know how to find me. It's Pong Soul on X, formerly known as Twitter, Pong Soul on the Xbox and Steam and GOG and Epic and everywhere else. So follow me and I'll follow you back. Listen, Steel and I put a post about living split screen today. So, again, we will keep it play it by ear tomorrow morning, but I'm assuming we're going to have a show. He's just been ultra busy, so he might not have been able to get the stuff up yet, and we might be doing it tomorrow morning, or he might be doing it tomorrow morning when he gets home. But again, keep your eyes and ears open, and we'll certainly post that. But be ready, set the alarms. You might as well get up. There's lots of great shows if we're not on, but join me and Steel tomorrow morning, hopefully for Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, live raw and uncut, 3+ hours every Saturday morning. You know how we get down and do it. And we obviously get the chat involved there. So please stop on over for that. And then, of course, tomorrow night, it will be, like Fuzzy said, the PTK Blam channel for the Shop podcast. So it's Blam, Fuzzy, myself, and we usually have a guest or two on for the Shop podcast. The best way to end your Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Or wait, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Forgot. We're going back to that again. On Saturday night, have us on in the background while you're playing some games. And then otherwise, next week it starts all over again. Of course, it's Tuesdays. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick is the man. Xbox Factor podcast for all good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Join that crew there every Tuesday. And then, of course, my week starts with Mav for Thursday night, PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM right here on the Fun Speculation Network, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Otherwise, everybody, it's a golden age of gaming. So please get out there, enjoy yourselves, play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. See you then.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, everybody, appreciate you being here. And if you like the content, hit the like button, share it out, notification bell, all that kind of cool stuff. Audio listeners, appreciate you as well. Leave a review on your favorite listening platform if you like the content as well. I hope you all have a good one. We will be, I may be streaming some Stalker this weekend, so stay tuned for that. If you follow on X or wherever, you maybe see a post before I go live. But hope you have a good one. Oh yeah, also Sunday. Did you mention Sunday, Pong? I was spaced out.
I haven't got notice that it was on, but yeah, I mean, go ahead. I did not mention Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be on Web Dave's show on Sunday.
I had told him I was going to be there, but he didn't hit me back up at all this week.
Well, he told me that you were going
then
to be
I'm locked
there.
in. Okay, cool. So yes, me and Mav will be on Sunday. Go ahead, Mav. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll be there on Web Dave's show. So
Yes.
go check that out as well on Sunday. But besides that, have a good one, everybody, and take it easy. Have some fun. Don't get lost in the zone. Drink your Red Bulls. Drink your vodka. Because you can die from radiation.
Did you guys notice when you drink the vodka, though, that the colors become more vibrant?
Yes.
When you get a little drunk, it's so freaking incredible. Yeah. Guys, try it out. Drink the vodka outside, and everything becomes super vibrant. I got screenshots. I thought it was something in the game, and I was like, is the game screwed up? And I'm like, no, I'm drinking. So yes, of course it's become more vibrant.
You see clearer now.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't walk into any floating bubbles or step on any lightning or fire or acid. Don't
listen to your radar.
Fall off the ledges. Listen to the beeps.
Yep.
And watch out for the visible bloodsuckers and the running meatballs and the jumping rats and all that stuff.
The boars are pieces of shit. They knock you over. I hate those fuckers.
The boars?
Yeah. The wild boars.
Are those the meatball? Oh no, the boars, the bigger one. Yeah.
Yeah. They come running out of nowhere and knock you the hell over.
So I've only saw one boar.
What?
I know.
What?
I know.
One.
Well, I was just in an area literally where they kept respawning. I killed 12. I had to use up almost all my ammo because there was like I'm not even messing. There wound up being like 10, 12 of them.
I keep running into the meatballs.
Oh, I mean, I've had the meatballs, but not like that often.
The meatballs,
everything's random, bro. Everything is random in the game. I love it. But yeah, no, I literally had one area, a small little area, and I literally had to kill 10 to 12 boars. Oh, fucking pain in my ass.
It's weird. Like I saw a boar, right? But this is how I saw the boar. I saw the boar at the end of my path.
Yeah.
They got hit by some kind of lightning charge and died. That's the only boar I've seen.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
And he got annihilated, but he was kind of far off in the distance. I'm like, is that a boar?
He got cooked.
But when I heard you say boars, I was like,
that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my God.
crazy.
Yeah, they going high, Wilfrey. Yeah, they'll go in high. Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts, man. But yeah, Sea Lord's jumping for the first time. Enjoy. And don't worry about dying. That you're supposed to.
Yep.
You're supposed to. Don't worry. That's part of the fun.
I think it's like
just save scum.
Yes.
I think I have a meatball bug. Like they might as well call it the Chef Boyardee bug or something, because all I got is fucking meatballs, man. It's just like come running. I'll be walking down the road, and there's fucking 2 meatballs running in a pack, just run at my ass, and like.
I mean, I've killed maybe a half dozen, but no, I don't have them like that. Jesus.
Oh, there winds up being more stuff later.
Maybe your meatballs are. Maybe they've replaced the boars in your game.
They're eating the boars.
Maybe so.
And don't kill other stalkers. Use your other stalkers. If you're in an unknown area or you're in an area that you haven't cleared out yet, use those stalkers. Just follow them around and or bring the enemies to them and let them get in a gun battle. It's freaking awesome. So much fun. And then you can kill them afterwards. Take their shit.
I think I may have accidentally become a warden.
A what?
A warden?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As long as another warden didn't see you do it, you're okay.
I'm like in the warden area.
Oh.
You know, and around there. And I'm like cool with them. So.
God, I love the game.
Anyway, it's amazing. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Later.